Orlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 3.
Hello, everyone, and welcome inside the News 6 newsroom. Welcome to News 6 at 3 o'clock. It is your only live local newscast at this hour with all the big breaking stories happening right now. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
I'm Matt Austin. Glad to have you with us. One breaking story we brought you yesterday, we're starting to learn more about today. It was this shooting outside the Orange County Jail. We told you there were shots fired. It was around 4 p.m. A woman and her boyfriend called 911 saying her ex was following them in his car, shooting at them. One of the shots hit a random bystander. She was taken to ORMC. She's in stable condition. And they just so happened to be driving near the jail. So they stopped to flag down Orlando police officers and Orange County Sheriff's deputies. Anthony Miles was charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a gun. He faced a judge for the first time today. There's a look at him. He's being held on no bond right now. So that's what was happening. It was a little ex versus the current boyfriend.
Yeah, very often
issue.
we get to those scenes and it's hard to determine what's going on, and sometimes it takes us hours because they don't let you know what's going on until they're fully ready. And so we learned all those details later on in the day, but brought it to you as breaking news yesterday around this time. Another story we brought you earlier this week, and it has some big environmental impacts too, and the video was pretty incredible. We're learning new details about cleaning up what caused a state of emergency to be declared in Marion County this week. We showed you earlier this massive rail tie fire in Dunellen. It sent thick black smoke just everywhere. This doesn't even look real. It looks AI generated. The city says nearly 18,000 have been taken out by rail cars so far. Another 12 rail cars are arriving by tomorrow, where crews will load up the ties for them to be taken away. The city says another 37 rail cars will be delivered early next week, and another 43 are scheduled to arrive by the middle of the month. But when you see that, look at, you can imagine the environmental impacts there. Officials say the damage to the tracks will not impact efforts to remove all railroad ties by the end of the month. Monday night, residents crowded a meeting with concerns that the fire was sending chemicals into the air. They were really concerned about that, and they wanted to know what they were actually breathing in. Fire officials asked people to avoid the area if at all possible and to keep their windows and doors closed. News 6's Tylisa Hampton is in Dunellen today working to get more answers on this situation. She'll have an update for us in about an hour or so.
You can't blame people for being concerned.
No,
what
you see that and you
in.
smell it, yeah.
The video's crazy. Well, a crossing guard is fighting for their life this afternoon after getting hit this morning. These are the stories you just hate to hear. Police Department crossing guard was hit by a vehicle while directing traffic at Gulfview Elementary. The crossing guard was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Rockledge police say their focus is, quote, on their employees' recovery and assisting the family. There's no word on the car that hit the crossing guard. We don't know if they stayed or left, who was behind the wheel, or if they could be facing charges, though usually in these cases they are. Rockledge police say the investigation is open at this time.
All right, this is another story we brought you yesterday that when you first heard about it, you're like, okay, not again. But it was the time of day that it happened that was kind of unusual. It was a school threat, and the investigation into this could have been so much worse. But Orlando police were called to Lake Nona Middle School yesterday for a report of an armed person on campus. Now, officers didn't find anyone, but Orlando police tell us an officer accidentally fired their rifle while searching the building. So that would cause quite a bit of alarm and panic there. Officials say no one was hurt. Orlando police say standard operating procedure and internal investigation was launched, and the officer is undergoing some additional training, because you might imagine you don't want that to happen again. But frightening, and I believe it happened after hours, and we were wondering like who called in a school threat when school was over.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we had heard about a hoax call, and then now we're learning about that accidental discharge. That certainly is a big update for that story. Well, your community correspondent, Mike Valenti, has been tied up in court all day long.
Yeah, nobody is as good as dissecting court documents as this guy. He's looking into more cases of people being held in the Orange County Jail on immigration holds.
We've been following these cases, told you just the other day, 2 immigrant detainees at the Orange County Jail were released. The judges in those cases ruling that they had been unlawfully held. This case, little different, because the outcome Judge Julie Sneed ordered a bond hearing for Miguel Rincon Hernandez, the Venezuelan national who entered the country 2019, has a valid worker's permit according to his lawyer, has a social security card, a driver's license, and does routine check-ins with ICE. But the judge in this case deciding that he should get a bond hearing in front of an immigration court. So we'll see when that happens. She said that she was, quote, concerned about how long Rincon Hernandez has been held inside the Orange County jail, and she urged the U.S. Attorney's Office to work in concert with the immigration court to try to expedite a bond hearing for him. But again, this case ended differently than what we saw in recent weeks. So far, 5 of the Arroyo law firm's clients have been released from Orange County jail custody. Those clients being held on an immigration detainer, no local underlying criminal charges. We have 2 more cases later this afternoon. We're going to keep you apprised of all the latest details.
It's one of those complex issues, but very important matters underlying.
Yeah, he knows how to get into the weeds in that.
He does.
Yeah. Well, attorneys for suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez were back at a Lake County courtroom today.
So today, a judge was hearing a motion. Basically, the defense is trying to get the prosecution to hand over some evidence in this case. It all involves that illegal gambling operation. Your community correspondent, Mark Lehman, tells us what's happening.
The attorneys for Marcos Lopez say they haven't been able to adequately prepare for trial because they've not been able to access key pieces of evidence in his illegal gambling case. They were hoping for an order from the judge, but instead an agreement has been worked out with the state.
We don't have the ability to copy or present those or bring those to defense counsel.
A judge hearing a motion to compel after attorneys for Marcos Lopez said the state isn't meeting discovery obligations. It includes obtaining surveillance from a Kissimmee gaming room, which prosecutors say Lopez collected more than $600,000 in illicit payments from.
So we are desperate to see what they allege they have. We don't know.
Much of the evidence is in possession of state or federal agencies, and there's been a back and forth between the defense and state for getting access. The judge denying today's motion after both parties agreed to work together.
And so we may need to go there with terabytes and whatnot. It may be a full day that we're there. I don't really know, but that's what's going to happen. So we're going to meet, and hopefully we'll get the rest of the discovery.
Lopez has pleaded not guilty to racketeering and is requesting a jury trial. Meanwhile, all 5 other defendants, including his estranged wife, have taken plea deals and agreed to testify in the case. Lopez could face decades in prison if convicted.
As his attorneys, we want to make sure that he has a right to a fair trial, that we have all the evidence that the state alleges they have to prove the racketeering charge against him.
As for what's next in this case, depositions with some of Lopez's co-defendants are scheduled for tomorrow. His next hearing is set for March 31st. For now, reporting in Lake County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
This is a case we have been talking about for a very long time, and it seems like we're going to be talking about it for an even longer time.
It is definitely carrying well through 2026.
That is for sure. It's got some legs. Well, portfolios are taking a big hit today. The Dow Jones opened and immediately took a hit, and we're still in the red this afternoon. Look at this. It's down 429 points right now. Experts say the downturn boils down to 2 main reasons. First, those jobless claims. Job openings fell to 6.5 million, the fewest since September 2020. And moreover, experts say that this was the worst January for planned corporate job cuts since 2009.
Well, that's not a good year right there.
It's a very bad year, yeah. We told you last week, Amazon and UPS announced another combined 46,000 layoffs after the companies cut tens of thousands of jobs late last year. The other side of this is the big tech side. Google's parent company, Alphabet, announced yesterday it plans to double AI spending this year, leading to a number of investors to sell off that stock and other tech stocks that took a hit today. So it's just something to keep a close eye on. It's not that early in the day. The market's closed in less than an hour, and it looks like it's going to be really bad.
It actually was worse earlier in the day. I saw it down 600 this morning when I got in.
There is a little bit of hope.
We've seen some improvements, but
it's still down 400.
Corporate layoffs, worse since 2009. That is a big red flag. All right, staying on top of a crazy story out of Marion County. You've probably seen this one online. One young man accused of lighting his friend on fire. I want to warn you, The video can be a little tough to watch if you're sensitive, so the Marion County Sheriff's Office will show it to you. Released the video. It's from January 10th. Apparently, it shows Bradley Ming pouring gas on a bonfire with a number of other boys. The video shows Ming continue to pour gas on the flames even as they grow. Then the fire trails along the beach until it spreads to another boy on the beach. Deputies say that boy was taken to the ER, had second-degree burns over much of his body, and his legs were bloody and discolored. So get this, he tried to cover for his friend, saying he threw a water bottle of gas on the fire, which exploded. Ming has been charged with aggravated battery, and that story is just exploding online
You
right
just hate to see something like that happen, and you just wonder, what were those young men thinking? And they clearly were not thinking about the consequences, but that the one who was really badly burned had to be airlifted out of there. And I think if you're
he
inebriated,
must be in so much pain right now.
Absolutely, 100%. It's just a great example. Parents, talk to your kids, and these stupid pranks have got to stop, because it could have been much worse than that.
Could have been a
It's
death,
bad,
for
but
sure.
it could have been worse.
All right, we still have much more to come. School advocates say some big changes are planned for public schools. We'll talk about what those are coming up.
Plus, we're talking about what a lot of you are saying about a popular restaurant chain that is closing its doors for good.
Let's take a live look right now out to Lake Worth Beach. This is in Palm Beach County, where Governor Ron DeSantis and the First Lady holding a press conference this afternoon alongside Florida Surgeon General Dr. Joseph Ladapo. They haven't told us exactly what they're going to be speaking about, but as soon as it happens, we'll let you know what's going on at that press conference there. Well, schools closing, teachers leaving, parents often frustrated with these public schools.
We've been talking about this a lot lately. The Florida Education Association, along with public school leaders from across the state, held a press conference earlier today to talk about the state of public education in Florida. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez spoke with the group on their biggest concerns.
With the school voucher program and Schools of Hope, the Florida Education Association is concerned public school districts are underfunded, short-staffed, and being left with little help from the state. And that's why today they're taking their worries right to the state legislature. What's the message?
It's time for lawmakers to listen to the voters in the state of Florida and invest in our public schools.
Florida Education Association President Andrew Spar is ready to bring his concerns to the state capitol.
When we look at all of the challenges that we have in our public schools right now, 45th in the nation in funding, a massive teacher and staff shortage driven by really low funding, really bad policies. We see the inequities.
In December, Governor Ron DeSantis announced his proposed budget. In it, he set aside more than $30 billion for K-12 schools and $1.5 billion for teacher pay increases, an increase of $200 million from last year.
We put our money where our mouth is. We did record funding for teacher pay increases for Florida.
But for Spar, it's not enough to keep teachers in the classroom.
The increase is around 200 million or a little less than 200 million, which when you divide it among all of the teachers in the state of Florida does not come close to keeping up with inflation.
The budget also sets aside $20 million for the Schools of Hope program, which allows charter schools to share space with public schools. It's a move Spar feels shows the commitment to private over public.
Public school space can be really stolen from these massive corporate charter schools, displacing our students in our neighborhood public schools, draining more dollars from our public schools, all at taxpayer expense and all at the expense of the learning for our students.
The Florida State Senate last month unanimously passed a bill to overhaul Florida's school voucher system. So far, though, that bill has not seen much movement in the House. In the studio, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
It's an important conversation, and communities all across the state and especially here in Central Florida are having that conversation.
Each kid in a school district has a dollar figure over their head, and when they take their self somewhere else, the district is out that money.
With them. All right, we're always curious to know what you're talking about and what you're searching for online. And what you're talking about is always what we want to know about.
That's right. And so we're going to bring up some of your comments in just a second, but people are talking a lot about this popular chain that's closing. Do you have a Bahama Breeze near you, Gigi?
There's one in Altamont.
Okay.
There used to be, I guess.
I've been to the Waterford Lakes one a few times.
Okay.
Earlier this week, the company behind Bahama Breeze, that's Darden, they're a local company. All their locations are closing, they announced. Officials say the chain, which has 28 locations, is, quote, no longer a strategic priority. That's never what you want to hear in business.
You're not a priority.
No. 8 of those locations are in Central Florida. 14 will close after April 5th. The other 14 will be converted into another brand the company owns. Some of those options include Olive Garden, Longhorn Steakhouse, Yard House, and Ruth's Chris.
Okay, you start talking about Olive Garden's closing, there's going to be, in the breadsticks.
There will be breadsticks on fire in the streets. Absolutely.
It's a problem.
Endless salad
A lot of you are upset about this Bahama Breeze story and that they're saying goodbye. More than 1,000 people have commented on this post about the closure. Andrew says he needs the cilantro chicken recipe before April 5th. Jake hopes the Sanford location at least keeps something there, but he'll need to find a new birthday spot. And Gabriel says he knows what he wants to open next, a Bass Pro Shop.
Oh, you're dreaming.
Those are great, but I don't think you're going to get one.
A Bahama Breeze is about the size of a Bass Pro Shop aquarium.
One little department inside
bigger
there.
Footprint
Yeah,
for that
exactly. Well, after the break, an investigation into a popular athletic wear brand.
Plus, the record already being shattered at the Winter Olympics.
Hey there, I'm News 6 anchor Lauren Melendez, and the price of gold and silver, it is having an impact on the Olympics. Plus, Nike is under investigation. We're going to get over to Maribel Aber in today's Money Matters. Let's talk about what the athletic company is accused of doing.
Lauren, the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is accusing Nike of discriminating against its white employees. The agency announced its probe Wednesday, but didn't identify individual victims. Now, the court filing references current or former staff who say they were affected by Nike's DEI policies last year. That's according to CNN. Now, Nike called the legal move, quote, an unusual escalation, adding that it's been cooperating with all EEOC requests to date. The EEOC claims Nike failed to provide all the information demanded by its subpoena. Nike says the scope was overly broad and went well beyond the needs of the investigation.
Wow. Okay. Now, interested in seeing how this plays out. Thank you. And the medals at this year's Winter Olympics setting a record. Let's talk gold, silver. What's going on here?
Soaring gold and silver prices, Lauren, will make this year's Winter Olympics medals the most expensive in history. The value of the precious metals has skyrocketed as high as 200% in recent weeks. That's according to FactSet tracking. So that means gold medals will now be worth around $2,300, more than double the value of those given out last summer in Paris. Second place silver medals are up threefold, worth around $1,400. Around 700 gold, silver, and bronze medals will be awarded at this year's games. Lauren, even more reason to go for that gold.
I took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, if you ever had a reason to want that, now is the time. All right, Maribel, thank you. Remember to get the latest money and consumer news anytime. Just head to our website, clickorlando.com.
I was wondering what was going on. Okay.
We didn't know where that camera was.
I was like, okay. A lot of people are gearing up for the Olympics, and they have the Olympic story. But if you go online, you can find what every nation is wearing. You got to check out Haiti. Just check them out. I'm just saying, go online and check out
what. Palette? What?
Oh
You're
my!
really teasing us here.
It's incredible.
Is it good or bad?
It's so good.
Okay.
It's so good. Yeah.
All
right. Something that a number of people have in their freezer could be pulled, it will be pulled from the grocery store shelves. We're talking about Minute Maid announcing that they are discontinuing their frozen juice concentrate.
I was fueled on this stuff as a kid.
You know what I used to like to do? I used to take it out of the freezer and I used to eat it.
Eat it with a spoon.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. It was real sweet. Who knows what it did to us?
I think we can see. A spokesperson for Coca-Cola, which owns Minute Maid, says consumers are moving away from concentrates and are preferring ready-made or fresh squeezed juice. Minute Maid began selling that juice 80 years ago.
Good gracious.
That is insane.
Hey, it had a good run. In business, you get 80 years.
It works. You get a lot of OJ out of that one can.
You do. But yeah, I can't tell you the last time it's been in my freezer.
No, it's been a while.
For sure. All right, still to come. The headache some people are still facing years after dealing with a hurricane.
Plus, why one woman is facing charges for trying to steal her own car. Welcome back to News 6 at 3 o'clock. It is coming up on 3:30 right now. I was waiting for the clock to change, but it's still a little time. We got some more breaking news for you. Yeah, exactly. Well, no one was complaining that, and I certainly was, about this hurricane season, this past hurricane season, being relatively quiet, especially as many people continue to deal with the impacts of storms from what happened years ago.
Yes, people are dealing with these impacts, and we're not even talking about Milton. That was 2024. So investigator Erica Bergoglio joins us now. How are people still having issues? What are we talking about? Ian?
More than 3 years Ian hit, more than 3 years ago. So imagine you own a home, you're still paying the mortgage on it, you're paying the insurance, but you can't live in it.
And you now have to pay for some place to live, though, right? On top of that?
Some people are. Fortunately, this couple is staying with their in-laws, so they have family, but a lot of people aren't in that situation.
That's a lot,
So their home was flooded during Hurricane Ian back in 2022. It was deemed uninhabitable, which means you can't live in it. A structural engineer came out, deemed it uninhabitable. So they applied for a grant through FEMA. It's called FEMA's Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. A lot of people applied for this after a disaster opened up. So they applied for that years ago, and get a load of this. Their application has not been touched.
What?
Yes.
When you say hasn't
what does
been
that
touched.
mean? Nobody's looked at it yet?
No one's looked at it yet.
Okay, but they filed it like 3 some odd years ago?
Yeah, 2-3 years ago, they applied for this program.
How do they even know that someone's received it?
So how this works is this particular grant, communities apply for it. So in this case, it's the city of New Smyrna Beach applies for this grant, and they apply on behalf of homeowners. So in this case, the couple I spoke with. So New Smyrna Beach is also waiting for grant money for projects it's working on post-Hurricane Ian.
Okay, so you're talking about entire communities, not just individual families.
Yes, and we are hearing many families are still waiting for their application to be looked at and reviewed by FEMA.
So do we know what the holdup is in this case?
Yes, so what a lot of people don't realize is there's a middleman in this, the state of Florida.
Always a middleman.
I know, governments, grants, a lot of red tape. So FEMA is telling me the holdup is with the state. I've reached out to the state. They haven't told me anything yet.
Okay, so you're on hold too.
I'm
you're also
not as bad as these families.
Another 3 years, maybe we'll get some answers.
So we're trying to push them and try to figure out what's going on. We've got a congressman looking into this family's application as well. So we're trying to get them in their home as quickly as possible.
And this family, you tend to hear from a lot of people. This family's not alone. Have you heard from a lot of other people like this?
Yeah, and our community correspondent, Molly Reed, has also been hearing from a bunch of families in Volusia County who are also dealing with the same thing. They're waiting for this grant money. They can't live in their homes, but you're still paying a mortgage. You're still paying all these expenses.
Yeah. So if we want to see the story 4, 5, when is this thing?
4 p.m. and 6 p.m. And of course, clickorlando.com. We've posted way more information about this program and some of the projects in the city that are on hold.
Well, your heart just hurts for that family who they're still paying. I don't know what I would do. You're paying the mortgage, you're paying the insurance, you're doing all the right things, but your home is uninhabitable. It doesn't make any sense.
Erica Bergoglio, thank you very much for the update. We appreciate you. Well, this just into our newsroom now. For the second time this week, a child has been arrested for making a school threat.
Okay, so we have much more on that story. Flagler County Schools, the resource deputy assigned to Buddy Taylor Middle School spoke with investigators. They're looking at pictures and messages sent over to Snapchat. Apparently, someone sent written threats of a gun in a group message. Now, the deputy spoke with a 13-year-old who was said it was just a joke, and as you know, that's something that they take very, very seriously.
Yeah, we've had so many of these recently, including an 11-year-old arrested at one point. So here's a look at Buddy Taylor Middle School. This is the location. And we told you about that 11-year-old. She said that she was dared to write a school shooting February 4th on a bathroom wall by someone that she was talking to online she had never met. Officials say she said she was bored and didn't think that would be a big deal. So we have had a list of these issues coming recently, and just another one. in there. Just
And
these
it's
very
sad.
young kids, way younger than you would expect to
And
be
there are
involved in
serious
stuff like this.
consequences for kids doing things at that age.
All right, investigators in Brevard County continuing to look into a bomb threat that shut down businesses there, and this just happened last night.
Yeah, and our News 6's Ashley Garrett spoke with some people who were impacted by it.
Businesses on edge after being told to evacuate, not making any money, and missing out on business, all due to this threat that Titusville police say they responded to in the 600 block of Cheney Highway. They sent their updates via Facebook, the Titusville PD Facebook page to be exact. The second update coming in around 6:30 saying those businesses could return to work as normal after police had conducted a search and found there to be a safe condition for those businesses to get back to normal. But let me tell you why we're outside of the Sonic right here behind me in the 600 block of Cheney Highway. This is in the area of the Wells Fargo and Planet Fitness. Just to give you a point of reference, when we got here, we drove around asking folks in the parking lot if they knew anything about police responding to reports of a bomb threat. Most told News 6 no until we came across a young man and a young woman coming out of the Planet Fitness who said it happened at the Sonic right across from the Planet Fitness. So those two described the scene as very active Wednesday evening. A decent police presence and roads in the area blocked off is what they said they saw. So we made our way to the Sonic, and that's when we found a man sitting outside who identified himself to me as the new GM. He then said he could not discuss what happened at the restaurant Wednesday. I asked whether it involved an employee. If not, did he know who made the possible bomb threat? Was anyone hurt in the case Wednesday? And to all my questions, I was told he could not provide any answers. Now, I have put in calls to the Titusville Police Department working to learn some more information on Wednesday night's case. I was told if and when they get an update, they will be releasing that. So as soon as we get some new information, we will be bringing that to you. We do know that Titusville police say that this case is ongoing. For now, we'll send things back to you in Titusville. Ashley Garrett, News 6.
Incredible. Yeah. All right. So we're getting some new video in to our newsroom of a woman who was arrested, and police say she was arrested for stealing her own car. How does this happen, you ask? Orlando police say they were called to a tow truck company last month that an employee was pepper sprayed by someone who was trying to steal a towed vehicle. Officers found this woman. They were ordered to get her to the ground. The report says she didn't. And of course, the next step is she was tased. Apparently, she told officers she came to get personal items and $49,000 in cash that she said was in her car. There's a load of some of that cash right there. And only pepper sprayed the employee because he pointed a gun at her. That employee says the pepper spray happened before he pulled the gun out. Officers looked into the woman's purse where they found cash, a pistol, and a handful of pills, which tested positive as being oxycodone. She was charged with burglary, with battery and possession of a controlled substance, and possession of felony commission and grand theft auto.
Follow-up question: $48,000 in cash.
49, Matt. I don't know who just walks around with that kind of cash.
I don't remember the last time I had that laying around in my car.
I don't remember the first time I had that.
But if I had that in my car and it got towed,
I would want it back
would
too.
Be freaking out. All right, well, despite it being one of the biggest concerns for Floridians moving into the legislative session, apparently lawmakers are saying, what? You want us to address property insurance? Is this something you're actually worried about? Well, the state Senate president says relief from past reforms is still on the way. He pointed to laws signed by the governor in 21 and 22 that eliminated one-way attorney fees and banned assignment of benefits. He also cited larger rate increases for customers of Citizens property insurance in an effort to bring those rates closer to the private carriers. I think the goal was for the private carriers to come down,
Correct.
not for Citizens to go up.
To be the biggest insurance
as a
carrier
homeowner,
in the state.
you know, that's just what I was thinking. And reduce the number of policies held by state-backed insurer. They have let go of a lot of those because they've made it more expensive. He says, everybody just, don't you love when politicians tell you this? Just be patient, everybody. Give the reforms a little more time. Here he is.
No, I wouldn't expect any kind of major property insurance changes this year. And here's the reason why. We did some major tort reform a couple of years ago that ended the practice, or at least heavily suppressed the practice of frivolous lawsuits in Florida.
So there you go.
Okay.
So, don't worry about property insurance. It's taken care of. He said the current state of the market was helped by Florida getting through the 2025 hurricane season without a direct hit.
Is this even a story?
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know why we're talking about it.
Why do we
Who's
even do
really
it?
worried about skyrocketing property insurance?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right. So we're getting a first look at something pretty incredible, Matt.
Yeah, so it's the first look at the new home for the Tampa Bay Rays. So, well, that's not a first look at it. This is the area where it's happening, I think. So we told you earlier this week, the Rays, I oversold that one, didn't I? The Rays and Hillsborough
I was
College
ready.
reached a preliminary agreement that could bring that new ballpark to the Dale Mabry campus, right next to George Steinbrenner Field. That's the Yankees spring training, right across the street from Ray J. Today, we're getting renderings of what that area will look like. These images, there we go. We're getting to those images. We're taken from the Rays website for the new ballpark. It looks pretty nice here. It's impressive. There's a stadium, hotels, housing, retail space, academic facilities for the college are included in this. The ballpark has an estimated 31,000 seat capacity. By the way, that is smaller than any other major league park, but maybe they'll give it a little bit more of an intimate feel at 31,000.
You know how I feel about this whole story.
You're impressed.
I'm not.
You like the Trop.
I love the Trop. I love the Trop because you always know what you're going to get. You always get a good game. Anyway,
We found the one person
no one
who
asked
likes
me.
the Trop.
No, there are many people in my corner.
All right, we're going to get another check of your forecast. If you're out at the Trop one of these days and you want to feel the elements, we'll have that for you coming up after the break.
Okay, and plus, I have a story to share with you I'm very excited about.
Me
It
too.
is about one city's connection to Black history that a lot of people had no idea even existed. When we come back.
Let's take a live look out to beautiful Mount Dora. There's Lake Dora, just looking as gorgeous as ever. But the day did not start out so fantastic. In fact, it might look a little better than it actually feels. I've got meteorologist Julie Broughton with me. I was out shooting a story earlier today, and it got cold and nasty out for a little while, but then now it looks great.
Yeah, now most of us are seeing clearing skies. That nasty weather you're talking about, that was along with the cold front that we were talking about for the last several days. Yeah. That is to our south. Let's go ahead and take a closer look in for you on our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera. Just as expected, we have cleared pretty nicely behind that, but I want you to look at the temperatures and look at the winds. So 55 degrees right now. As of 5 a.m., we were right around 57 degrees, so we have only dropped throughout the day today. See the winds? West-northwest, 23 miles per hour. We're seeing higher gusts to around 33 miles per hour in Orlando. And you know what those northwest winds do? They bring in all the cool air, so that's what we're going to be dealing with overnight tonight. Now, right now, some spots even still in the 40s have dropped to the 40s. Palm Coast, you're at 48, 49 in Daytona Beach, 56 in Kissimmee. This is always a good indicator, the 24-hour temperature change graphic. Some spots 20 degrees cooler than we were yesterday at this time. Yesterday was such a nice day, even a few degrees warmer than normal. That didn't last, but never fear. Another warm-up is coming, just not quite yet. So here's a look at the satellite and radar imagery. There is our front moving off to the south. You see the area of low pressure cranking behind it. That is helping to bring our winds out of the northwest. So we did pick up on some of that rain. Matt, you said you got some of that this morning, but notice the totals. These are radar estimates.
Yeah, not a ton, right?
Right. And, you know, we get new drought numbers every Thursday. No major differences in our drought numbers, but we are extremely dry for this time of year. Parts of Osceola County picked up about 0.8 of an inch, but this is certainly not what we would consider drought-busting rain, so that's not too helpful.
Not heavy rain, but it definitely brought in a way different feel to the day. We got in the car in Orlando, went up to the villages, stepped out, and it was like we were on a different planet.
Yeah, I mean, it was so gray, so windy, and you felt the difference in real time. You were going north as the front was going south, so you got to sample it first.
And you called it.
Yeah, here are our advisories for tonight. We have freeze warnings posted for Marion County. The rest of us under cold weather advisories, meaning wind chills as low as 26. You can, of course, keep up with any advisories in your area on our free weather app. Just search WKMG in your app store.
Okay, still not the best weather out at the beach right now. A little chilly for my taste, sure. But we want to throw things out to our community correspondent, James Sparvero. James, what are you working on out there today?
Hey Matt, well I got to take my rain jacket off, so that feels great right now. I want to show you where I'm at. You see the water behind me? I'm on Minuteman Causeway, and I believe I can flip my camera live here for you, and I can show you the road itself, so you see just how close the road, the sidewalk, all the cars are here to the water. So this is my story today. We're going to talk about erosion concerns, and I learned a lot myself today because when I talk about erosion at the beach, we're usually talking about the ocean and the beaches, and it's usually immediate impacts we see whenever a storm comes through. Well, I was talking to Cocoa Beach's mayor today, Keith Capizzi, and we talked about how little by little over the years, the erosion also affects the causeway here. Minuteman Causeway, it's at the heart of downtown Cocoa Beach, connecting downtown to two schools, the junior senior high school and Teddy Roosevelt Elementary School, as well as Cocoa Beach's Country Club. So at tonight's city commission meeting, the city is expected to hire an engineering firm to talk about a plan to address the erosion. The firm itself is not a consulting firm, so they're not going to build anything. They're not a contractor, so they're not going to build anything, but they're going to get the ball rolling and get out in front of this. So the ideas, Matt and Ginger, that they're going to look into whether a seawall might be appropriate or perhaps coquina rock. And the mayor told me it's going to come down to whatever is best for the environment. And in my full story coming up at 4:30, I also talked to a resident who has their concerns. They don't want to see something metal in the water. They think whatever's natural might be best. But they also have concerns about the natural mangroves in the water. Now, would they be cleared away to make way for this new kind of project? They are protected in Florida, so to clear them you need a permit, but that's on top of her mind. And then the mayor has more to say about how this could impact utilities for about 1,000 people who live here. picking up their children right now from school and headed back home. As you can see, it gets real busy around this time. But that's what I'm working on for you guys. Can't wait to show you the full story.
Okay, yeah, not easy to get rid of those mangroves, and people hate it when you do that. James Barbero, thank you so much, live for us in Cocoa Beach. Thank you, sir.
Well, February is Black History Month, and Ginger, you've been working on a story for us.
Okay, this story, and you know, this is why I love working here at News 6, because you get the opportunity to go out and you discover something new. And the thing new that I discovered is not new at all. But when the story aired, and
it's new to us.
It's new to us for a lot of people in the community. And what made me so happy to have been able to do this story is the fact that when I came into this newsroom this afternoon, I had at least 3 people say, hey, your story on Hannibal Square, I didn't know that and I really enjoyed it. Yeah. And that makes you so proud that you're able to do a story like this. But Hannibal Square is in the Winter Park area, right? And it was first founded in the late 1800s by Black families, formerly enslaved people, laborers, and families. And I got to walk with a woman who is almost 80 years old. There she is right now. Her name is Farrellyn Livingston. And she was born on New England Avenue, just blocks away from Park Avenue. And you know Park Avenue. Everybody
Fancy,
comes from all over
Park
for Park
Avenue.
Avenue. Yeah. And she got to talking about how she was born here, went to elementary school there, couldn't go to Winter Park High School, so all of them ended up going to Eatonville instead. But just talking about the deep history and how this community would not be what it is without the African American community. But of course they were then, it's being gentrified and they were being pushed out. But she wants to make sure that this history is never forgotten. And there are great memorials, walking memorials. You learn so much. There's a picture of us or a video of us in front of a mural that's on the place where her former elementary school is. And it tells the story of Hannibal Square, right? And what was so moving about that is we're looking at it, and she points out a church and she points out a house, and the house has the number 800. And she goes, do you see that house that says family? I was like, yes, ma'am, I do. She says, that's my house. It was 800 New England Avenue. So she is central to this story, very central to this story.
Sometimes when we talk about, you know, the history in our community, we think it's so far removed, right? And as we're walking around our communities, we forget that this wasn't that long ago, that people still have very deep connections to that. Yeah.
I was just going to talk about that because this woman is almost 80. She is a vibrant part of the community, and she's still here to tell us about the history. And the Heritage, the Hannibal Square Heritage Center is also in that area. They love talking to people who have family members who grew up there because, you know, word of mouth is fine, but those stories get told in a different way, and sometimes they aren't exactly accurate. So they're asking people, hey, if you have family members who grew up in this area, they have this great project where if you have a family member, you have a picture and you get to tell the story, they put it on the wall so it's never forgotten. And I tell you, if you go into the Heritage Center and you see the images, even dating back to the 1800s, how these Black families were all dressed up in school. There's a picture, a yearbook picture of these elementary school kids. One little girl who stood out to me, who everybody's dressed almost the same. She had on little fancy cowboy boots, but they were just so proud and just so fashionable. And the cars they drove and their Sunday dress, it just makes you feel that much more connected to a community that we all go to.
And if you go there, you might not realize this.
You could walk
That's
right
why these
past
stories are
it
great.
and not even know. So I'm so happy. I hope you'll watch this story. It'll air at 4:30 and also again at 5:30 today. I'm
Looking
so happy
forward
to do
to
that.
it. Yeah. And we have another Black History Month story coming up for you after the break.
Yeah, this one is about a local hero. Can't wait to share that one with you as well. Well, today, the city of Orlando is making sure that the contributions of a local hero are never, ever forgotten. Gilbert McQueen from Orlando was the first African-American killed in action during the Korean War.
News 6 photojournalist Charles Holmes was at the sign unveiling today.
Today, we celebrate Black history by honoring Gilbert McQueen.
What no better time than to kick off Black History Month than to recognize and celebrate Gilbert McQueen's contributions to our city and to our country.
We would like for all of our neighbors and citizens and visitors to know why we name certain parks after certain individuals and their accomplishments, and the sacrifices that those individuals have made.
Gilbert took his discipline and motivation and leadership he learned in scouting into the Army, where he served and earned 6 medals, badges, and citations. Private McQueen was killed in action during the Korean War on June the 3rd, 1951. And I want to thank our FPR team for adding this sign to the park and for helping our community learn about important figures. This park allows us to honor him and recognize what he gave to our community and to our country.
I love that. And I think that we should have signs like that anytime there is a park named after someone, because you go there.
So what did this name mean?
You have no
it?
clue
Yeah.
in many cases. So that's really nice and a nice honor for him and his family.
And it's going to be there for generations to come, because sometimes these heroes are so often forgotten, but his contributions are very, very important. And we're happy that we were able to bring that story to you this Black History Month. All right, we are busy and getting ready for News 6 at 4 o'clock.
That's right. We just heard from your Brevard County community correspondent, James Sparvero. He is along the coast looking into an erosion scare that could impact utilities for hundreds of homes. News 6 at 4 starts right now.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
We're going to start today by announcing a $50,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of Nancy Guthrie and or the arrest and conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance.
It is now day 5 in the search for the mom of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. Investigators say they believe the 84-year-old is still alive.
I'm meteorologist Julie Broughton tracking some winter weather advisories tonight. How cold it will be where you are in minutes.
But first, a road rage chase turns into gunfire, and now police say an angry ex-boyfriend is behind it. We brought you this story as breaking news throughout News 6 at 4 yesterday. We showed you the scene live outside the Orange County Jail.
Today, we worked to get answers on what exactly happened. Investigators say 2 people were shot at while driving through Orlando, and a stray bullet even hit an innocent bystander. Your Orange County community correspondent, Jarrell Baker, has the new details.
Deputies are now saying that it was an angry ex-boyfriend behind a road rage chase that blocked off this area of John Young Parkway for several hours Wednesday afternoon. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jarrell Baker. We also have new details showing how the 2 vehicles involved ended up right here in the Orange County Jail parking lot. Police say that it all started Wednesday afternoon when a man and his passenger realized that they were being followed by the woman's ex-boyfriend, Anthony Miles. Investigators say Miles allegedly chased the pair from the Metro West area, even trying to ram their car multiple times. That a driver says once he saw the firearm from the suspect's vehicle, that is when they decided to make their way right over here to the Orange County Jail, hoping that law enforcement would respond quickly. But once they made the U-turn down there here on John Young Parkway, that is when officers say that the suspect opened fire, shooting 3 gunshots through his windshield.
It was crazy.
We spoke with Terry Von Aiken Wednesday when John Young Parkway was blocked off for hours.
Getting in a car, shooting, getting a weapon, people just need to learn to walk away,
The 2 victims were not hit, but investigators say that one of those bullets struck a 76-year-old woman who was taken to the hospital for treatment. Detectives say that after his arrest, Miles admitted to shooting at the car, telling investigators that he was angry and let his feelings get the best of him. He's being held on no bond. Now, Miles is facing a number of charges, including assault with a firearm and battery with a firearm, as well as shooting from a vehicle. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
Investigators say an officer accidentally shot their rifle while investigating a school threat. We told you about this as breaking news yesterday on News 6 at 5. Officers rushed to Lake Nona Middle School in response to a 911 call about an armed person on campus. Officers say they immediately secured the school and did a full search, but they never found anything or anyone suspicious. Today, they told us during that search, an officer accidentally shot their rifle. Now, no one was hurt. Police say there is now an internal investigation, and that officer will have to go through additional training.
Taking a live look at our Launch Credit Union Port Cam at Port Canaveral. Cold weather advisories are in effect tonight before we hopefully finally start to warm up.
Yeah, okay. We were warned not to put our heavy coats away.
Right.
Meteorologist Julie Broughton joins us now with those changes you need to know about, Julie.
Right. And one thing that I want you to notice on that camera we just looked at, how clear it is. Most of us woke up this morning to gray skies, rain for our morning drive to work and school. That was all thanks to a cold front. That is to our south, but it is leaving that cold air behind it. So we have a freeze warning posted for Marion County, and then just about all of us are under cold weather advisories because we're talking about wind chill readings overnight as low as 26 degrees. Here's a look at our actual temperatures we're expecting tomorrow morning. This is around 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, remember, the average low this time of year is 51. We drop to 38 in Orlando. You'll go to 35 in Leesburg and 32 in Ocala and in the Villages. Here's a look outside right now. This is our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera over downtown Orlando. Looking pretty. You're seeing the camera shaking just a little bit there because of those strong winds. 56 degrees, by the way, at 5 a.m. it was 57, so we've kind of been steady throughout the day. You'll see winds gusting up to around 32 miles per hour right now in Orlando and 30 miles per hour right now in Mico. All of us hanging out generally in the mid-50s. Normally this time of year, we're right around 74 degrees. But again, we have that brief cool down, so we got to get through tomorrow. And then by this time next week, we do have some 80-degree readings in our 7-day forecast. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes.
Julie, thank you. Investigators say they believe the mom of Today's Show anchor Savannah Guthrie is still out there. Today, they gave an update on their search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. It has now been 5 days since she was last seen or heard from. Reporter Andres Gutierrez has the latest from Tucson, Arizona.
The Pima County Sheriff's Department said Thursday they believe Savannah Guthrie's mother is still out there as they continue to investigate her disappearance.
We have not identified a suspect or a person of interest in this case.
Authorities shared a timeline showing the window when they believe 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie was abducted from her home in Tucson after she was dropped off Saturday night.
The blood on the porch, that was one we did. It came back to Nancy.
We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen.
In an emotional video released Wednesday, the Today Show co-host and her siblings pleaded directly with whoever may be holding their mother and acknowledged the reported ransom letter.
We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her.
The FBI says there has been no response so far from the video the children put out.
There has been no proof of life, and there was no other demands within that letter. So they're still waiting for communication.
Savannah is very smart. She's going to do what she needs to do to get her mother back.
Savannah Guthrie's friend Sally Shamrell helped organize last night's vigil.
I just want that very, very, very precious woman back in her children's arms.
The FBI announced a $50,000 reward for information leading to Nancy Guthrie's recovery and an arrest in the case. Andres Gutierrez, CBS News, Tucson, Arizona.
We are working to learn more details about a deadly shooting in Orange County. This happened early this morning, just before 3 on Piedmont Street and Campanile Avenue off Ivy Lane. That's right by Carver Middle School. Deputies say when they got to the scene, they found a man in his 20s shot. First responders took him to the hospital where he died. Deputies say the investigation is in its early stages. They did not say what led up to the shooting or if they've arrested anyone.
We apologize. That is the incorrect video for that story. We're also working to learn more details about a crash involving an e-bike on State Road 434 in Altamont Springs. Northbound lanes were closed from Hillview to Gateway Drives while police investigated. Investigators say a man riding an e-bike went to the hospital with serious injuries.
Attorneys for suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez were back in a Lake County courtroom today.
A judge heard a motion to compel discovery in his case involving an alleged illegal gambling operation. News 6's Mark Lehman was in court and has details about what happened.
The attorneys for Marcos Lopez say they haven't been able to adequately prepare for trial because they've not been able to access key pieces of evidence in his illegal gambling case. They were hoping for an order from the judge, but instead an agreement has been worked out with the state.
We don't have the ability to copy or present those or bring those to defense counsel.
A judge hearing a motion to compel after attorneys for Marcos Lopez said the state isn't meeting discovery obligations. It includes obtaining surveillance from a Kissimmee gaming room, which prosecutors say Lopez collected more than $600,000 in illicit payments from.
So we are desperate to see what they allege they have. We don't know.
Much of the evidence is in possession of state or federal agencies, and there's been a back and forth between the defense and state for getting access. The judge denying today's motion after both parties agreed to work together.
And so we may need to go there with terabytes and whatnot. It may be a full day that we're there. I don't really know, but that's what's going to happen. So we're going to meet, and hopefully we'll get the rest of the discovery.
Lopez has pleaded not guilty to racketeering and is requesting a jury trial. Meanwhile, all 5 other defendants, including his estranged wife, have taken plea deals and agreed to testify in the case. Lopez could face decades in prison if convicted.
As his attorneys, we want to make sure that he has a right to a fair trial, that we have all the evidence that the state alleges they have to prove the racketeering charge against him.
As for what's next in this case, depositions with some of Lopez's co-defendants are scheduled for tomorrow. His next hearing is set for March 31st. For now, reporting in Lake County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Now to a live look at stocks after the closing bell. Another bloodbath on Wall Street. Today, U.S. stocks lower once again, partly because of new economic data showing the labor market weakened over the past 2 months. The Dow ended down more than 500 points. The S&P ended down 1.2%. The NASDAQ ended also down 1.5% today. Now, Labor Department figures for December released today show the lowest level of job openings in 5 years. 2025 was the weakest year for job growth outside of a recession since 2003. Leaders are rushing to stop erosion on a causeway along the coast.
Why a mayor is warning that utilities for about 1,000 homes could be at risk. Coming up.
It was a large fire in Denellen. Just take a look behind me. You can see all that path of damage right there by those railroad tracks. Marion County officials even said it led to a state of emergency.
You're watching News 6 at 4 as we take a live look at our camera in Daytona Beach. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
I'm Joey. This is Kara. And we're on a boat.
This week on Day Trippers, we got to check out Catboat Claremont. Catboat Claremont isn't just your typical boat tour. We are cleared for takeoff.
Well, what it is a boat tour that's very unique because everyone gets their own boat.
That's right. You and a friend get your own boat for a guided tour of the Claremont chain of lakes. Watch the full video now at clickorlando.com/insider. Signing up to be an insider is free and easy. Plus, it's the only way you can keep up with our adventures around Central Florida.
And don't forget to nominate your favorite teacher for the New 6 Educator of the Week Award, sponsored by Osborne, Francis, and Pettis Law Firm.
Marion County has declared a state of emergency as leaders work to clean up from a large fire that broke out earlier this week.
Yeah, it all started from a stockpile of chemically treated railroad ties in Dunellen. News 6's Tylisa Hampton joins us live from there now. And Tylisa, it's been a few days since that fire. How does it look out there right now, and how are the people out there feeling?
Your imagination to see that damage left behind by this fire. Just take a look behind me. You can see all of that area that was damaged. And if you're thinking, hey, this happened in the middle of nowhere, you're wrong, because there's houses right behind this, there's businesses in front of us, and there's even a hotel right over there. So that's caused a lot of concern for people who live in this area, concerned about some of those health issues that could be left over.
It was a lot of really thick, dark smoke.
Have you ever seen anything like it?
No, I haven't.
Marion County officials declared a state of emergency in Dunellen after 40,000 chemically treated railroad ties caught on fire.
I feel sorry for people who have problems with their lungs. So yeah, I'm angry. I'm angry as hell about this.
And you can just take a look behind me. That large fire left this path of damage and lingering health concerns in the community.
The quality of the air quality and the leakage.
City leaders say there was no above ground well near the area, but water sample testing for public wells is being done, along with monitoring air quality, but no issues have been reported.
My concerns are the water, people's health. I don't know who's going to be responsible.
As thousands of ties are carted away as part of recovery, the cause of the fire is still under investigation. But city leaders state the property is owned by CSX Transportation. It was during Tuesday's county commission meeting, officials said multiple attempts like code enforcement violations and formal notices were made to remove the hazardous materials beforehand.
And it was just an accident waiting to happen.
A spokesperson with CSX told me the railroad ties are owned by Trackline Rail, and the rail line and property where the ties were being stored is leased and operated by Florida Northern Railroad. In a part statement, they say, we asked the Trackline to remove the ties throughout December and January. Trackline had already removed thousands of railroad ties prior to the incident. But for some in the community, it's not good enough.
So you think legal action should be taken?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. 100%.
And in just May, the county commission has approved filing an injunction against all parties involved. The county attorney tells me they are preparing a draft. And Ginger and Lisa, you can see crews still out here working to recover after this fire. We have reached out to those other two companies mentioned about this injunction and are waiting to hear back. Now, officials have said that there's supposed to be a city council meeting happening on Monday in Dunellen, and there is a possibility or maybe even a conversation to join in on that injunction. We'll make sure to keep you updated on that. Reporting in Dunellen, I'm News 6's Tylisa Hampton. Back to you.
Tylisa, thank you. And we're so fortunate because it has been super dry lately. And she pointed out that that fire happened right in a neighborhood.
Yeah, we definitely got some much needed rain this morning. Not a whole lot, though, Julie. And we do have some more changes on the way in our forecast.
We do. That rain was along with a cold front that is bringing us colder weather tonight. We mentioned those rainfall totals, really not impressive, especially in that area where Tylisa was. We were talking about most folks only getting a trace or so of rain up in that area. A little bit heavier rain in our southern counties. counties. Now, we are looking at some winter weather advisories posted tonight behind that cold front that went through and brought us a little bit of rain this morning. We'll keep it cooler than normal Friday afternoon, and then as we head into the weekend, a warming trend begins. Now, here's a look at our advisories we have in place for tonight. We have a freeze warning posted for Marion County, so we're talking about temperatures going below freezing for a few hours in some parts of Marion County, and then we have cold weather advisories posted just about everywhere else. That's because wind chill readings will be dropping as low as the mid-20s when you are heading out to work and school for your Friday. Here's a look at the temperatures we're expecting. We'll go to 38 in Orlando, 37 in Kissimmee. Palm Coast, you'll drop to 34, and you go to 32 in areas like Ocala and the Villages. But here's how it will feel. So hopefully you haven't put away your winter weather gear just yet. It will feel like 30 in Sanford, 30 in Leesburg, and it will feel like the 20s across much of our northern counties, including Palm Coast, where it will feel like 29 for you tomorrow morning. Light Orlando delivering Hope Together camera over downtown Orlando, showing our skies really have cleared nicely for us as that drier air building in. 56 degrees right now in downtown Orlando. We've been pretty steady in the mid-50s really since the overnight hours. Winds, though, are gusting pretty strong, up to 32-mile-per-hour gusts in Orlando and 30-mile-per-hour gusts right now in Melbourne and in Mico. That is keeping us on the cool side. 49 right now in Palm Coast. It is 55 in Ocala and 52 if you're in Wildwood. Now, here's your hour-by-hour forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
Everyone, look at this beautiful picture. This is Topaz Miller, and she is 14 years old, so she's the matriarch of her cat family. Such a beautiful girl. 50 degrees at 7 o'clock, 49 degrees at 8 o'clock, and those temperatures really drop quickly for us after sunset. Here is our front that brought us the rain this morning and the gray skies. Again, rainfall totals were pretty unimpressive. That rain has moved out for us, so radar sweeping out dry. Clouds and rain forecast showing not much to track for us, and the clear skies overnight will let those temperatures plummet pretty quickly for us as we head through the overnight hours. But we do have a change on the way, so a big trough of low pressure aloft helped to crank that cold front through. Notice as we head to the weekend, we'll start to see a ridge building, and that will help to bring in warmer temperatures. Here's how that looks for your 7-day forecast. Again, we start the day tomorrow in the 30s. By Saturday, close to 70, and then we slowly warm all the way through next week. And by Thursday, I snuck an 80 into the forecast for us, so kind of from one extreme to the other.
All right, Julie, thank you. The fight over growth is heating up in one Central Florida community.
The big rezoning vote that could clear the way for a controversial apartment project and why neighbors say it will make traffic even worse. That's next. A live look now over downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando.
In less than an hour, the battle over growth is set to be front and center when leaders discuss plans for a controversial new apartment complex.
We first told you about this last month. The project in Merritt Island would include 222 apartments in 8 buildings right near State Road 528 and Courtney Parkway in Brevard County. It would be the first new apartment project in the area in 35 years. But many people living nearby say they are already fed up with traffic, and this will only make things worse.
We don't want it. We don't want all these people. And I know that sounds bad, but this area is not built to be overcrowded.
In order for this project to get approved, Brevard County commissioners need to vote on rezoning. Tonight's meeting starts at 5.
Tourism appears to be up in Central Florida. That's according to Orange County's tourist development tax collection. The revenue comes from a tax on hotel stays and other short-term rentals. The Orange County Comptroller says December's tourism tax collection saw an 8.1% increase compared to December 2024. He says that's a new all-time high for the month of December.
Before the shops and big homes in Winter Park, it was a self-sustaining Black community built on deep family roots.
This was the location of my elementary school. It's not the same building, but it's the footprint of where my elementary school was, where I attended in the 50s.
I'll introduce you to a woman who is working to make sure that history is never erased. That's next.
Here's the road and here's the shoreline. YMR says that this needs to be stabilized to protect utilities for about 1,000 homes.
As we take a live look over Port Canaveral, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We're following several top stories right now.
New details about the shooting that happened just outside the Orange County Jail yesterday. Orlando police say 2 witnesses said Anthony Miles followed them, hit their car, and shot at them. A 76-year-old bystander was hurt in the shooting. Miles is now in jail on no bond. Also in Orange County, investigators say an officer accidentally shot their rifle while investigating a school threat. This happened yesterday at Lake Nona Middle School. Investigators never found anything suspicious, but that officer's rifle did accidentally go off during the search. No one was hurt. In Brevard County, investigators say a driver hit a school crossing guard, and that crossing guard is in the hospital with serious injuries. This happened this morning at Gulfview Elementary School in Rockledge. Police say the driver stayed at the scene, and the investigation is ongoing.
Cocoa Beach is getting out in front of an erosion scare the mayor says could impact utilities for homes there. In some parts of Minuteman Causeway, the road and sidewalk are just a few feet from the water. Your Cocoa Beach community correspondent James Barbero shows us the city's new plan to protect people living there.
It's the one road connecting downtown Cocoa Beach to 2 of its schools and a country club. And if the shorelines around Minuteman Causeway aren't stabilized, the mayor says utilities could be affected one day for about 1,000 homes.
It's needed to protect our infrastructure, for sure.
I talked to Mayor Keith Capizzi at City Hall, where Thursday night the City Commission is expected to hire an engineering company to address erosion on the causeway. When we talk about erosion, I think we usually talk about the ocean and the beaches. How has Minuteman been impacted over the years?
So right now the problem is the water is about 10 feet away from the sidewalk. If that erodes, infrastructure underneath that runs along, our piping and all that could be compromised.
So once they're officially hired, Mayor Capizzi told me the engineering firm will consider options like a seawall or coquina rock, whichever has less impact on the environment.
I don't think it should be like a metal structure.
When I talked next to Marilyn Bolo, who lives off Minutemen, she told me she wouldn't want to see a new project cut any of the mangroves in her neighborhood. Mangroves are legally protected in Florida, and generally a permit is needed to clear them.
I remember when we first moved here, you could see the water all the way out to the high school. Now it's obscured due to the overgrowth of the plants, which I think is helping hold the soil there.
Just to hire Kimley Horn to design the erosion project would cost the city $87,000. We'll update you on what happens at the City Commission meeting on clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Cocoa Beach community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Sanford leaders say someone vandalized one of the pavilions along the Riverwalk. They posted pictures on Facebook. They say the graffiti was on the pavilion at the intersection of Sanford Avenue and Seminole Boulevard. Crews tried to remove it with a pressure washer, but it was not coming off. They had to call a roof and exterior cleaning business for help. Leaders are asking if you ever see any vandalism, call the Sanford Parks and Rec Department or Sanford Police.
Another Central Florida city is joining the fight in stopping treated sewage water from becoming drinking water. It's called Toilet to Tap. It's a water recycling plan being promoted across the state. Now, last night, Daytona Beach leaders voted to direct the city attorney to bring back a charter amendment on the 2026 ballot. That means voters would decide on banning Toilet to Tap. A few years ago, Daytona Beach tried to start the program, but people pushed back and it was shut down. And we told you about this yesterday on News 6 at 4. Toilet to Tap started because of the drinking water shortages the state is facing from rapid growth and development. Earlier this week, Volusia County leaders also agreed to draft language that could put a ban on the practice on the 2026 ballot for people living in unincorporated areas.
It shouldn't be allowed to happen. Development needs to keep up with what the land can sustain.
The council is expected to vote March 3rd on whether to put the ban before voters. And it's not just Volusia with Toilet to Tap on the mind. Tampa and Polk counties are currently making major investments in projects to try to turn wastewater into drinking water. Here in Central Florida, Altamont Springs is already using treated sewage water. Right now, it's for irrigation, though, not drinking.
The recent release of millions of pages of evidence from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation is drawing attention all over the world. It goes beyond new evidence of the sex abuser's friendship with King Charles' brother Andrew. The scandal is also forcing Britain's prime minister to answer tough questions. Lee Canary has the details from London.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor moved out of his Royal Lodge Monday, stripped of his home and royal titles for his association with Jeffrey Epstein and accusations of sexual abuse that he denies. Last weekend's release made these photos public. Andrew crouched over a female on the floor in Epstein's New York home and appears to confirm this infamous photo of Andrew with Virginia Giuffre as real. Now, UK police are investigating allegations from a second woman who claims Epstein sent her to the UK for a sexual encounter with Andrew in 2010.
My mother would be proud.
British authorities are also investigating this former UK lawmaker, Lord Peter Mandelson, for alleged abuse of public office, after the latest release posted photos of him and emails he sent to Epstein sharing confidential, market-sensitive information while in a government position. Prime Minister Keir Starmer made Mandelson the ambassador to the U.S. last year, and this morning he's apologizing to victims.
Sorry that so many people with power failed you. Sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies and appointed him.
Mandelson spoke to the BBC last month, denying any wrongdoing.
There were no girls on that island when I was there.
But victims like Ashley Rubright want accountability in America, too.
I would go as far as to say the leaders in the past 5 administrations should be brought in and questioned. There has definitely not been enough accountability. Absolutely not.
Accountability is what's being demanded here in Westminster and beyond as the files reveal Epstein's connections all over the world. In fact, Poland is investigating possible links between Epstein and Russian authorities to determine whether he could have been working as a spy. Lee Canary, CBS News, London.
14 years after the Confederacy fell, a part of Central Florida was born. Free black families founded what became known as Hannibal Square. The area is always changing, but its history is not gone. You're about to meet a woman who has lived it, and she is making sure that history in Orange County is never erased.
When I grew up, we didn't even have a telephone.
Walking with Farrell and Livingston through Hannibal Square is like opening a time capsule.
Oh, I was born a block away from here at 800 West New England Avenue.
Now in her late 70s, Livingston grew up in Hannibal Square with her childhood home just blocks from Park Avenue.
On New England Avenue here, that was the business area of the black community.
Hannibal Square was founded on the west side of Winter Park in the late 1800s and became home to formerly enslaved people, black laborers, and families.
We came from a very cohesive community where education was very important. And of course, the churches played a big role.
While African Americans were largely excluded from living or owning property in other parts of the city, Hannibal Square emerged as a self-sustaining community during segregation.
This was the location of my elementary school. It's not the same building, but it's the footprint of where my elementary school was, where I attended in the 50s.
Long before the neighborhood looked the way it does now, with large homes, high-end shops, and restaurants, Hannibal Square was built on deep family roots.
So that house, it says family, that number on there, what is that?
Oh, that's your number.
That's my number.
Hannibal Square's story also challenges how people see Winter Park today, standing as a powerful reminder of black history as foundational to the city's story, a legacy of resilience, community, and often unrecognized contributions from African Americans who helped build Winter Park from the ground up.
We have these 3 men here. The one holding the slate, the advocate, that was Gus Henderson. Gus Henderson had the first newspaper in Winter Park, Florida, and he serviced both the black and white community. And then next to him you would have Walter Simpson, and he was elected to the town council along with the gentleman next to him, Frank Israel. They were the first 2 black men serving on the town council. They called them aldermen back in that day, and they served from 1887 until 1893. However, the whites went to the Florida legislature and requested that they overturn that election and remove Hannibal Square from the town limits. And the Florida legislature approved that.
This is a picture of the townspeople.
One way that history is being preserved and passed on is through a walking tour led by Jasmine Harris, manager of the Hannibal Square Heritage Center.
These photographs document African American life before desegregation and tell a very important story.
From clothes to cars to the everyday moments, The pictures tell the stories of the families whose own history is not woven into Central Florida's history.
It shows Hannibal Square as a living entity. The community is not dead. These people, they're still here.
And their stories are still here to be told. The Heritage Center is always looking for people with pictures and stories connected to Hannibal Square. If that's you, they would love to hear from you. We've put a link into how to get in touch with them so you could share your pictures and your story. You can go to clickorlando.com and find this story right there on the homepage. It's just a community that's just so rich with history that a lot of people don't know about.
And Central Florida is changing and growing so rapidly, and it's easy for a lot of people to not realize and to forget our history. And it wasn't that long ago when,
there's a woman who lived it who I got to talk to.
Well, while a popular burger chain makes its way to Central Florida, 2 other big chains are shutting down.
Yeah, we're taking a look at the openings and closings that's coming up.
This home was deemed unlivable after Hurricane Ian. Years later, the homeowners are still waiting for federal funding to fix it.
I'm still paying a mortgage on a house I can't live in, homeowner's insurance, flood insurance.
I'm News 6 investigator Erica Bergoglio. The people who live in this home are not alone. Coming up, the reason they are waiting for relief.
And as we head to break, we want to remind you to check out our primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Go in depth as we answer your weather questions at 9:30, then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
One couple has not been able to live in this home for the past 3 years. It was damaged during Hurricane Ian. You can see the cracks, the home starting to buckle. Now, the couple says they applied for a FEMA grant to fix their home. But years later, they say their application has not been touched. I'm News 6 investigator Erica Bergoglio, and I found out they are not alone.
Look at the cracks because of the settlement.
As Cheryl Booth's home of 20 years cracks and crumbles.
This one is enough to scare anybody. Look at this.
So does her spirit. It seems like it was well lived in. How does it feel being in your home now, seeing it empty, cracked?
I'm going to tell you this. I've been here several times because it is my home. But seeing it like this is very, very unsettling. I don't have a home.
Booth and her husband have not lived here for more than 3 years after floodwaters from Hurricane Ian burst through their New Smyrna Beach home in the middle of the night. When did you realize that you were not going to be able to live in your home
I
anymore?
realized that the very night that it happened. With the amount of water that was in the house, I just couldn't see it.
A structural engineer deemed their house uninhabitable. The Booths applied for FEMA's Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, which helps rebuild or harden homes. But years later, Booth's grant application has not been touched. The last update she got was in December, saying it still needs to be reviewed by FEMA.
I'm still paying a mortgage on a house I can't live in, homeowner's insurance, flood insurance.
Booth is not alone. The city of New Smyrna Beach says several projects linked to this grant, such as the work being done here at 27th Avenue Beachfront Park, are also in a holding pattern. The city says it needs to be reimbursed before these projects can be completed and inspected. We wanted to get to the bottom of this. I asked FEMA the reason for the holdup. FEMA says when the Florida Division of Emergency Management submits an environmental review, FEMA will then move the project to the next steps. I called and emailed the Division of Emergency Management. I am still waiting for a response to our questions. We want to make sure Booth's application gets reviewed, so News 6 also reached out to her congressman, Representative Corey Mills. His office is looking into this. We will let you know what happens. Erica Bergoglio, News 6.
All this time later. All right, so look at this. We want you to check out something pretty cool and pretty spectacular, too. It's satellite imagery captured parallel bands of clouds called horizontal convective rolls, also known as cloud streets. They were forming off Florida's southeastern coast. Now, this was on Sunday as the freezing air came in. The National Environmental Satellite Data and Information Service posted the time-lapse video. It doesn't even look real. It said this happens when cold, dry air flows over relatively warmer water.
It's like those clouds were looking for some warmer weather. They're like, get me out of here.
Weren't we all during that
Yes.
spell? And it looks like we're going to be doing the same thing
Right.
once again. Meteorologist Julie Broughton joins us now with what we can expect. Julie.
Right, that was incredible imagery. That was the first time I had seen that. That was really cool to see. But we are going to be talking about more cold weather tonight. This should be our last cold night for a while. In fact, as we head into next week, we do have some 80-degree readings in the forecast. But before then, it will be feeling like the 20s for some of us when you wake up tomorrow morning. Now, here's a look from the Climate Prediction Center, our outlook as we head into next week. And notice, after several days cooler than normal, we'll finally be seeing a trend warmer than normal, with temperatures in the mid to upper 70s and even low 80s as we head through next week, all thanks to our upper level flow. So here's the big picture. Of course, a lot of us woke up to some gray skies, some rain, and it's just been kind of a cool, breezy day for us thanks to a trough of low pressure aloft that helped to crank a cold front through our area. That continues pushing to the east. Behind that, a ridge of high pressure will build in. And remember, the jet stream separates the cold air to the north from the warm air to the south. So as we get that ridge, that will allow some of that warmer air to surge north into central Florida, but it's just not here yet. This is a look at the southeastern United States. Orlando sitting at 56, up in Jacksonville 44, 34 in Nashville. There is the front that brought us that wet morning drive and kind of a gray start to our day. That as well well to our south. Now, we did pick up some rain, which we desperately need. Every Thursday, we get new drought numbers. No major changes from last week, but you can still, we're still talking about some parts of central Florida in extreme drought conditions. So the rainfall totals weren't terribly impressive, unfortunately. This is the radar for us right now. All the rain has wrapped up. This is a look at our radar estimates as far as rainfall totals. Northern counties picking up only about a trace, and some parts of Osceola County and Brevard County where you see the darker green, anywhere from around a half inch of rain to about 0.8 of an inch of rain. So here's what we're dealing with tonight. Again, that front that brought us the rain, bringing us the cold air. We have a freeze warning in place for Marion County and cold weather advisories for just about all of the rest of us because it will be feeling at times like the mid-20s. Our actual lows will drop to 35 in Leesburg, 38 in Orlando, and you'll go to 36 in New Smyrna Beach, but it will feel like the 20s, especially in areas like the Villages up toward Palm Coast. Beautiful shot right now from our Daytona Beach sky camera. Right now, we're sitting at 50 with winds out of the west, northwest, and you'll notice just about all of us on our interior spots in the mid-50s, so we just did not warm up today at all. Hour-by-hour forecast featuring Lexi, who is ready for the cold night. We will drop into the 40s by 8 o'clock this evening. Isn't she cute? I wish we could have left the picture up longer, but there's just not time. So here's your extended forecast. 38 when you wake up tomorrow, into the 70s by Sunday, then warming close to 80 by this time next week.
We got a good look at Lexi. She's beautiful.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, now to a question for our traffic safety expert.
Someone wanted to know if cars get better gas mileage when the temperatures drop. Trooper Steve explains if that is true or a myth next.
Coming up in the morning, the chills are back in the air, and one local attraction is already thinking ahead to the summer.
Yeah, the water park that's looking to hire hundreds of people. Are you ready to take the plunge?
Oh, you got me there. Join us for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
So my husband told me the car gets better gas mileage in the cold. Is that true? Well, Maria, let's talk about this. It sounds nice, but it's mostly myth. So here's what actually happens when it's cold outside. Your engine takes longer to warm up, right? And until it does, technically that's burning extra fuel. And that means more gas is used just to get it going, especially on those short trips. So add in winter blend gasoline, cold tires, losing pressure, and all of us just running the heater, the defroster, and the seat warmers like it's a spa day. And suddenly your miles per gallon is going in the wrong direction. Yes, colder air is denser and can actually help engine performance slightly, but better performance does not always mean better fuel economy. So bottom line, in a real world driving, most drivers see worse gas mileage in colder weather, not better. So if your fuel gauge seems to drop faster in winter, it's not your imagination, and it's definitely not the cold helping you out. And if you got a traffic safety question or one of these, head on over to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve.
A husband making up a fact.
One more reason to love the warm weather.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, a popular burger chain is making its way to Central Florida.
Whataburger is opening a new restaurant in Orlando. A search on Orange County's permitting website reveals the restaurant is set to open in the Town Park Shopping Center. That's along East Colonial Drive. As of right now, Whataburger has 48 listed locations across the Sunshine State. The closest one to Orlando is located in Largo. That's about an hour and 45-minute drive away, but just wait till this one opens.
Meantime, we are working to figure out if any Central Florida Pizza Hut locations are part of a major closure. The company says it is shutting down 250 underperforming restaurants, and that is expected to happen in the first half of this year. And earlier this week, we told you how all Bahama Breeze restaurants are shutting down. Leaders with Darden say half will officially close, while others will be converted to other Darden brands. The final day for Bahama Breeze will be April 5th.
News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
We have some new video of the arrest of a man accused in a trail attack. Coming up, we're taking a look at it and letting you know all the new details in a live report. And working to keep civil servants safe. The plan for code enforcement officers to wear cameras when they meet with property owners. And your forecast is only minutes away. Don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus. Now at 5, a return to frigid temperatures, a freeze warning, and cold advisories. We're tracking the next blast of winter weather. Plus, keeping civil servants safe from the citizens they serve.
Protects the code enforcement officers.
A plan to make it easier for code enforcement officers to wear cameras when they meet with angry property owners. And
new video only News 6 is showing you tonight after an assault on a trail.
What's your name? What happened?
We'll show you the moment deputies found who they were looking for in August and what else we're learning about the suspect from the evidence we're seeing for the first time.
You're watching News 6 at 5. Breaking right now at 5, U.S. Marshals have arrested a person of interest in a deadly shooting at a park in Leesburg. Right now, investigators are interviewing James Fenderson IV about a killing in Berry Park. Police say back in December, 18-year-old Juan Gomez was inside his car in the park when he was shot and killed. Police are also looking for a second person of interest. His name's Deontay Wright. Investigators ask anyone with information to call Leesburg Police or Crime Line at 800-423-TIPS. Well, take a look at this new video we just got of the arrest of the man who deputies say assaulted a woman on a local trail.
We have been following this story since August. Patrick Gamache was caught and charged after the woman was attacked right in the middle of the day in the Longwood area. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver is live with a look at the new evidence.
For the first time, we are seeing video of Patrick Gamache's arrest, along with some video from a nearby traffic camera that helped track him down. You might remember that he was found in this same area the day after the assault. This is what happened when deputies caught up to him.
What's your name? What happened?
By the time deputies discovered Patrick Gamache, he was shirtless and shoeless and standing on the ramp to I-4 eastbound near 434.
Nobody still told me what's going on here. We're conducting an investigation. We'll tell you in a minute, buddy.
It's just after 9 o'clock in the morning on August 19th. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office had been searching for a man who forced a woman to the ground and assaulted her less than 24 hours earlier on a nearby trail.
I need police and medical. There's a woman been assaulted on a trail behind my work.
This picture, shared by the Sheriff's Office, shows the red shirt and scooter the suspect left behind.
What was he wearing? Shirtless. He left his shirt here.
The next morning, a traffic camera near I-4 and 434 spotted this man walking in red shorts.
You're being detained while we investigate that.
Deputies stopped Gamache because they say he matched the description of who they had been looking for in the same area. They run a quick background check and find out he's wanted out of state on a drug possession charge.
He has a warrant out of Georgia.
And when detectives arrive, you hear where Gamache says he's trying to go and where he came from.
Yeah, he said he was hitchhiking before he came up here. He said he's trying to get back to Jacksonville. What brings you down here from Jacksonville?
Yo, I got out from Miami-Dade County like 5 days ago.
You were in jail?
Yeah.
The whole interaction is nearly an hour before Gamache is finally placed under arrest.
Right now you are under arrest.
When we heard Gamache mention that he had recently gotten out of jail in Miami-Dade County, we started looking into that case as well. Online court records show that he was arrested after a robbery in 2023, and that case was closed just days before the assault here in Seminole County. I'm live in Seminole County. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Catherine, thank you. Turning now to your weather. Some chilly temperatures making their way back to Central Florida. If you're in Marion County, a freeze warning is in effect overnight.
And a cold weather advisory is in place for the rest of Central Florida. Let's bring in meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. So, Jonathan, what does this mean for all of us tonight?
Well, we're taking the tumble again, that's for sure. This is where we stand compared to yesterday. Of course, it was gorgeous in the low 70s. Now we've shaved off anywhere from 15 to 20 degrees when you compare it to just 5 o'clock yesterday. This means, though, that this is the last night, at least in this grouping, that we're going to be talking about that freeze potential for Marion County. So this is the last night you need to really take care of your plants as well, if they're not already dead. There's a lot of brown stuff out there. 54 in Cape Canaveral. We're at 53 degrees in Orlando, hanging around 50 in Wildwood right now as we continue to take that tumble. As mentioned, again, the only spot that has a threat for a freeze tonight is going to be us in Marion County. We'll talk about how low the temperatures go for everybody as you get up for work or school tomorrow. That's coming up at about 5:17, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Right now at 5, new details after a deadly shooting just outside the Orange County Jail. You first heard about this as breaking news yesterday at 4. John Young Parkway in the area around the jail was shut down for hours. Deputies say 2 witnesses told them a man was following them down the road. They told deputies Anthony Miles rammed their car as they drove toward the jail to alert law enforcement. They say Miles then shot at their car, eventually hitting an innocent 76-year-old bystander. Miles is being held on no bond, facing multiple charges.
We were the only news station in federal court today as 3 more immigrant detainees looked for their release. Your Orange County community correspondent Mike Valenti was there. He joins us live now. So Mike, so far the attorneys for these detainees have had a lot of success getting clients out of custody.
Yeah, Matt, good evening. They have, but it was a bit of a different story tonight. Philip and Josephine Arroyo trying to get 3 more clients out of jail. But at the end of the day, only one of those 3 ended up being released. Just 2 days ago, we told you that 2 men held solely on immigration detainers became the 4th and 5th of the Arroyo's clients deemed by the court to be unlawfully detained at the Orange County Jail. And so they were released. Cut to Thursday morning. I was inside the courtroom when federal immigration agents brought in Miguel Rincon Hernandez, handcuffed and shackled. The Venezuelan national has been held in the Orange County Jail for nearly 30 days. That's according to his attorney, Philip Arroyo, who told Judge Julie S. Sneed that Rincon Hernandez has a valid work permit, driver's license, and social security card, as he awaits a final decision on his asylum application. When informed about the length of Rincon Hernandez's detention, Judge Sneed said, quote, "I'm really concerned." She ordered he be given a bond hearing before an immigration court, but for now, he remains in jail. At 2 p.m., Alexis Lopez Rojas, wearing an orange jail jumpsuit, was escorted into Judge Carlos Mendoza's courtroom. Also a Venezuelan national, Lopez Rojas was detained January 1st of this year. He had previously been granted immigration parole and is seeking asylum. Judge Mendoza ruled his detention was unlawful and ordered Lopez Rojas's immediate release. The next and final case of the day, Glenn Lira Fernandez, a Brazilian national, wearing shorts and a t-shirt, also handcuffed and shackled. His student visa expired in 2022, and on January 24th of this year, immigration agents detained him. Judge Mendoza argued he is entitled to a bond hearing to be held February 12th, but Lira Fernandez was not released. Okay, so bear with me for a second because a lot of this info is a little bit in the weeds, but it's worth explaining. So far, prosecutors have been arguing that these cases fall under U.S. Code 1225. That is a code, a section of U.S. Code that typically is reserved for non-citizens detained at the border. But the judges in these courtrooms, in these cases, are saying, actually, these are 1226 cases, the statute for non-citizens who are already present within the U.S. And under that statute, they are entitled to a bond hearing before an immigration court. In a written order for a case from Tuesday, actually, Judge Byron wrote, "The question before the court is whether an alien already present in the United States who does not fall within the narrow exception in 1226 is entitled to a bond hearing. The answer," he writes, "is an unequivocal yes." We're live outside federal court. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Mike, thank you for that. Well, deputies say a man is dead after a shooting in an Orange County neighborhood. This happened early this morning. The shooting was on Piedmont Street and Campanella Avenue. It's off Ivy Lane, not far from Carver Middle School. Deputies found a guy in his 20s who was shot and unresponsive. He died at the hospital. We're pressing the Orange County Sheriff's Office for more info. We'll bring you those details on air and online as we get them. Soon it could be easier for code enforcement officers to wear body cams. A bill just cleared a Senate hurdle, setting some clear guidelines. Could be a big step for transparency and safety. Your Volusia County community correspondent, Molly Reed, looking into what it means.
Getting body cameras on code enforcement officers has been a pretty hot topic here in Volusia County. Just 2 years ago, the county council tried to make it mandatory for the county's code officers to wear body cameras, but ran into some legal road bumps and decided to push the state to change its rules to make it easier instead. The issue they face is that code enforcement officers are not exempt from the consent to record rule, especially in private settings, unlike police officers. If this bill passes, that would change.
The body cam is worn by the officer. People would be on notice that recording could be happening.
Representative Bill Partington sponsors the accompanying House bill.
It protects the code enforcement officers, and it also protects the rights of the residents.
Right now, Florida has no law banning code enforcement officers from wearing body cameras, but there are hardly any guidelines, which has held places like Volusia back from using them. The bill seeks to set clear rules on how to wear the cameras, record, store video, and handle public records.
It lines up very similar to the current rules that are used for police body cam videos.
There is no official data tracking crimes against code enforcement officers, but several incidents have been reported across the state in the last year. We've seen it before here in Volusia, too.
I will beat you to death with stupid.
Okay.
I covered this case back in 2022 when a man in Daytona Beach was arrested after police said he threatened to beat a code enforcement officer to death with the tablet the officer was using to document violations on his property. Daytona Beach began requiring body cameras for code enforcement officers back in 2019. Right now, the officers can record in public spaces like sidewalks, as you see in the video, but if they enter a private property, they need permission to record under current law. The bill now heads for its second reading on the Senate floor. I'm your Volusia County Community Correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
$30 billion set aside for K-12 schools and $1.5 billion for teacher pay raises.
That's what's been proposed in the state budget, but so far it has not been enough to keep teachers around.
Public school space can be really stolen from these massive corporate charter schools.
Next at 5, the concerns some are taking straight to the state capitol, and coming up at 5:30.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Launch Credit Union. Recently, public education has taken a hit in Central Florida.
With teachers leaving and schools closing, parents are growing increasingly frustrated. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez spoke with one group that is sounding the alarm and asking state lawmakers for help.
With the school voucher program and Schools of Hope, the Florida Education Association is concerned public school districts are underfunded, short-staffed, and being left with little help from the state. And that's why today they're taking their worries right to the state legislature. What's the message?
It's time for lawmakers to listen to the voters in the state of Florida and invest in our public schools.
Florida Education Association President Andrew Spar is ready to bring his concerns to the state capitol.
When we look at all of the challenges that we have in our public schools right now, 45th in the nation in funding, a massive teacher and staff shortage driven by really low funding, really bad policies. We see the inequities.
In December, Governor Ron DeSantis announced his proposed budget. In it, he set aside more than $30 billion for K-12 schools and $1.5 billion for teacher pay increases, an increase of $200 million from last year.
We put our money where our mouth is. We did record funding for teacher pay increases for Florida.
But for Spar, it's not enough to keep teachers in the classroom.
The increase is around $200 million or a little less than $200 million, which when you divide it among all of the teachers in the state of Florida does not come close to keeping up with inflation.
The budget also sets aside $20 million for the Schools of Hope program, which allows charter schools to share space with public schools. It's a move Spar feels shows the commitment to private over public.
Public school space can be really stolen from these massive corporate charter schools, displacing our students in our neighborhood public schools, draining more dollars from our public schools, all at taxpayer expense and all at the expense of the learning for our students.
The Florida State Senate last month unanimously passed a bill to overhaul Florida's school voucher system. So far, though, that bill has not seen much movement in the House. In the studio, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
All right, we're going to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. We woke up with some big changes this morning and more changes still on the way.
Happening as we speak. You got it. We have a couple of those showers, a few downpours, especially southeast of I-4. Decent amount of rain south and east of I-4 anyway. We'll take what we can get for sure, but some places picking up anywhere from a ½ inch up 3/4 of an inch, give or take, of rain, especially again south and east of Orlando, closer to Port St. John, into Rockledge, Satellite Beach as well, at least just inland of the beaches. The change that is happening right now is, of course, the temperatures. If you've been outside over the past couple of hours, you know what I'm talking about. 55 right now in the Villages. We are at 56 degrees in Kissimmee, 55 in Holopah. It is also gusty out there. We're going to keep that breeze with us through the overnight as well. Now into tonight, back through to the day tomorrow. Here's the tumble continuing. 9 o'clock tonight, we're falling back into the 40s and then steadily dropping into the mid to upper 30s across most of Central Florida. There will be a few spots northwest of I-4 that flirt with the freezing mark, especially for us in Marion County. Here's where we wake up to tomorrow morning. It is going to be cold. This is not going to rival the cold that we just got out of over the past weekend. 31 in Denellen, though, back to the freezing mark. In Ocala, we're at 32 in the Villages, also 32 in Wildwood. 34 will start our day tomorrow in Holopah, Titusville. Good evening. We're back to the upper 30s as well. Now here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
Temperatures tomorrow going to get back into the 60s. Where we stand right now is in the lower 50s. There's the breeze. We talked about this one yesterday, that it was nice out of the south and west, and then it would really crank up out of the northwest today, pumping in some of the drier air eventually, and then the colder air. So here's where we stand on the wind gust department. Again, anywhere from 25 to 30 mile per hour gusts on the coast, 17 mile per hour gust just reported in Wildwood. Claremont, we've also had a 24 mile per hour gust, and that is something that we're going to keep with us tomorrow as well. We're going to start tomorrow with a gust anywhere from 15-ish miles per hour, and then that's going to increase a little bit into the 20 to 25 mile per hour ballpark as we go through the afternoon tomorrow. Highs back in the low 60s. We do get our sunshine back in dominant fashion, so it is going to feel much nicer when you're walking in the sun. This is kind of the last straw, though, of the cold, at least for now, as we have a gigantic warm-up coming down the pipeline. Weekend looks fantastic. Cool start on Saturday, back to the upper 40s. Again, we're pulling out of the chill, though, hanging around 70 on Saturday, back to around 70 as well on Sunday. Sunshine will be out in full force, and then that's more like it. 77 on Tuesday. We are pushing 80 both Wednesday and Thursday, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, we told you how the recent cold weather impacted iguanas in South Florida.
But another animal, this one from the ocean, also struggled with the frigid temperatures. Coming up next, how cold-stunned sea turtles are being cared for right now after that cold snap passed through.
Your Thursday evening traffic alert. This early weather that we had today is not going to alter some of the construction this evening. So make sure you're paying attention. North and southbound I-95 out in Volusia at US 92. Those ramps will be closed. Follow the detour there. And then the lane closures really ramping up out along I-4. We've seen a lot of it lately, especially out here between the Turnpike and State Road 528. And then overnight shutdowns of the Florida Turnpike northbound in Osceola County as you approach 192. Everybody comes off. Follow the detour. They'll push you up towards Osceola Parkway, and you can re-enter from there. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 Traffic Alert. Drive safely, and I'll catch you in the morning.
Here's a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. It's around there somewhere. We'll be right back. The recent cold snap impacted us, plants, and of course, animals.
Florida's Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission and its partners have spent the last couple of days rescuing more than 500 cold-stunned sea turtles from across the state. Reporter Angelica Burton in Tampa Bay talked to an aquarium caring for the animals.
FWC and its partners have spent the last couple of days rescuing more than 500 cold-stunned sea turtles from across the state. Clearwater Marine Aquarium has about 20 that they're caring for from as far as the Panhandle to right here on Sunset Beach.
I thought it was a tire
up on the beach.
Kevin Jennings with the city of Treasure Island says he's never come across a cold, stunned sea turtle during beach patrols until last weekend.
He was up on the beach quite a distance from the shoreline, and he was, or she looked like they tried to bury themselves in the sand.
This is just one of many cold stunned turtles at Clearwater Marine Aquarium.
A lot of times they look deceased, but they are not.
Care teams are closely monitoring the turtles in these shallow pools. A lot nicer temperatures than where the turtles came from.
It's really important to get them swimming.
Rehabilitation manager Carrie McNally says these sea turtles thrive in temperatures above 50 degrees. She says some did not survive. Others could return to the ocean in just a few days, while some will need more time.
We do get a lot of critical cases, especially if they're thin, have other conditions that are primary to the cold stunning.
McNally says the best thing to do if you come across one is to stay with it and call the number on the screen.
They are endangered species and protected, so without permission, you really shouldn't touch them.
Well, a railroad tie fire is raising major concerns in one Marion County city. Those ties were covered in chemicals and people are concerned. Coming up, what we learned today when we went to check out where the issue stands days after it began. Plus,
here's the road and here's the shoreline. I'm your Cocoa Beach community correspondent, James Sparvero. YMAir says that this needs to be stabilized to protect utilities for about 1,000 homes.
as we take a live look at Daytona Beach, it is a gorgeous night out there. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We're following several top stories for you right now. We have some new video of the arrest of a man accused in a trail attack in Seminole County. It shows the suspect, Patrick Gamache, arrested a day after the attack. Deputies say Gamache forced a woman to the ground and assaulted her last year. Gamache faces multiple charges.
Soon, it could be easier for code enforcement officers to wear body cameras. Right now, there are hardly any guidelines, but a bill is moving through Florida's legislature to change that and pass the Senate yesterday.
Concerns about teachers leaving and schools closing are being taken to the state. Though there's billions in the budget for education, some believe it's not enough. Florida Education Association's president says he believes there's a commitment to private over public education right now. Well, we showed you some wild video earlier this week. Take a look here. It's a railroad tie fire near some tracks in Denellen. The ties are chemically treated, prompting some worries from neighbors.
The county eventually declared a state of emergency with concerns over health and environmental impacts. Today, we went back to Denellen with cleanup and questions underway as the city tries to figure out what exactly happened. News 6's Tylisa Hampton tells us multiple attempts were made to remove the ties beforehand.
It was a lot of really thick, dark smoke.
Have you ever seen anything like it?
No, I haven't.
Marion County officials declared a state of emergency in Denellen after 40,000 chemically treated railroad ties caught on fire.
I feel sorry for people who have problems with their lungs. So yeah, I'm angry. I'm angry as hell about this.
And you can just take a look behind me. That large fire left this path of damage and lingering health concerns in the community.
The quality of the air quality and the leakage.
City leaders say there was no above ground well near the area, but water sample testing for public wells is being done, along with monitoring air quality, but no issues have been reported.
My concerns are the water, people's health. I don't know who's going to be responsible.
As thousands of ties are carted away as part of recovery, the cause of the fire is still under investigation. But city leaders state the property is owned by CSX Transportation. It was during Tuesday's county commission meeting, officials said multiple attempts like code enforcement violations and formal notices were made to remove the hazardous materials beforehand.
And it was just an accident waiting to happen.
A spokesperson with CSX told me the railroad ties are owned by Trackline Rail, and the rail line and property where the ties were being stored is leased and operated by Florida Northern Railroad. In a part statement, they say, we asked the Trackline to remove the ties throughout December and January. Trackline had already removed thousands of railroad ties prior to the incident. But for some in the community, it's not good enough.
So you think legal action should be taken?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. 100%.
And in just May, the county commission has approved filing an injunction against all parties involved. The county attorney tells me they are preparing a draft. Reporting for News 6 in Denellen, I'm Tylisa Hampton.
So we have reached out to those other two companies for a response, but we haven't heard back yet.
Happening right now, a fight over growth in Merritt Island.
Leaders taking up plans for a controversial new apartment complex. We first told you about this in January. The new complex would have 222 apartments in 8 buildings. It would be the first new complex in 35 years. It'd be located off State Road 528 and Courtney Parkway. Those nearby say it would only make the area's traffic worse.
We don't want it. We don't want all these people. And I know that sounds bad, but this area is not built to be overcrowded.
Commissioners have to vote on rezoning before approving that complex. We're staying on top of this. We'll bring you the latest on air and on clickorlando.com.
Cocoa Beach's mayor says an erosion scare could impact home utilities. He says they are getting ahead of the issue near the Minuteman Causeway. Some parts of the road and sidewalk are just feet from the water. Your Cocoa Beach community correspondent James Sparvero shows us the city's plan.
It's the one road connecting downtown Cocoa Beach to 2 of its schools and a country club. And if the shorelines around Minuteman Causeway aren't stabilized, the mayor says utilities could be affected one day for about 1,000 homes.
It's needed to protect our infrastructure, for sure.
I talked to Mayor Keith Capizzi at City Hall, where Thursday night the city commission is expected to hire an engineering company to address erosion on the causeway. When we talk about erosion, I think we usually talk about the ocean and the beaches. How has Minuteman been impacted over the years?
So right now the problem is the water is about 10 feet away from the sidewalk. If that erodes, infrastructure underneath that runs along, our piping and all that could be compromised.
So once they're officially hired, Mayor Capizzi told me the engineering firm will consider options like a seawall or coquina rock, whichever has less impact on the environment.
I don't think it should be like a metal structure.
When I talked next to Marilyn Bolo, who lives off Minutemen, she told me she wouldn't want to see a new project cut any of the mangroves in her neighborhood. Mangroves are legally protected in Florida, and generally a permit is needed to clear them.
I remember when we first moved here, you could see the water all the way out to the high school. Now it's obscured due to the overgrowth of the plants, which I think is helping hold the soil there.
Just to hire Kimley Horn to design the erosion project would cost the city $87,000. We'll update you on what happens at the city commission meeting on clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Cocoa Beach community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez's case went back before a judge today. News 6's Mark Lehman was in court. He has details on what happened.
The attorneys for Marcos Lopez say they haven't been able to adequately prepare for trial because they've not been able to access key pieces of evidence in his illegal gambling case. They were hoping for an order from the judge, but instead an agreement has been worked out with the state.
We don't have the ability to copy or present those or bring those to defense counsel.
A judge hearing a motion to compel after attorneys for Marcos Lopez said the state isn't meeting discovery obligations. It includes obtaining surveillance from a Kissimmee gaming room, which prosecutors say Lopez collected more than $600,000 in illicit payments from.
So we are desperate to see what they allege they have. We don't know.
Much of the evidence is in possession of state or federal agencies, and there's been a back and forth between the defense and state for getting access. The judge denying today's motion after both parties agreed to work together.
And so we may need to go there with terabytes and whatnot. It may be a full day that we're there. I don't really know, but that's what's going to happen. So we're going to meet, and hopefully we'll get the rest of the discovery.
Lopez has pleaded not guilty to racketeering and is requesting a jury trial. Meanwhile, all 5 other defendants, including his estranged wife, have taken plea deals and agreed to testify in the case. Lopez could face decades in prison if convicted.
As his attorneys, we want to make sure that he has a right to a fair trial, that we have all the evidence that the state alleges they have to prove the racketeering charge against him.
As for what's next in this case, depositions with some of Lopez's co-defendants are scheduled for tomorrow. His next hearing is set for March 31st. For now, reporting in Lake County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Well, typically, Trooper Steve has an answer for you on every road question.
Yeah, everything from how to merge to questions about parking. But today he did something a little different with someone you may have seen recently. Our Trooper Steve on patrol sat down with our newest reporter, Ashley Garrett, and found out what made her fall in love with journalism.
I am welcomed in, ladies and gentlemen, with the newest addition to our News 6 team. Ladies and gentlemen, Ashley Garrett joining me. Welcome in Results 1.
Thank you, Steve.
I'm so glad we finally got to link up. You've been with us for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
I've seen you pop up on TV before I got to meet you in person.
Same here, big fan.
And then when I ran into you in the newsroom, I was like, hey, I'm Trooper Steve. You're like, I know who you are.
Oh, yeah, honey.
Well, I am so glad. Ashley, welcome to the News 6 team.
Thank you, Steve.
And you're local?
Yes, I am. Born and raised in Orlando.
I love that. I figured that out the hard way when I was asking you something, and you're like, I know where that's at.
My mom will always tell you from the age of 6, I've always said I'm going to be on TV. Okay?
Gotcha.
TV. I didn't know what that avenue was going to look like.
So you were a performing child?
Yes, but just naturally, not even trying to be performative. I'm just a lot over the top, period, right? So then I went to the Heights of 7 Hills. Shout out to FAMU. Shout out to the Rattlers.
All right, Rattlers.
And that's when I fell in love with broadcast journalism.
All right.
You kind of got to fall in love with it because the courses are so demanding.
It is.
All those who graduated through the School of Journalism, Professor Jones, you already know what it is. He does not give out any handouts. You earn everything in those courses for sure, and you fall in love with the industry overall too.
Now, to hear Steve and Ashley's full conversation, you can head to this article on our website, and you can hit the road with Trooper Steve on patrol weekdays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on the News 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com. It's an area known as Hannibal Square in Winter Park.
But it wasn't always what it is today. It actually started as a home to formerly enslaved people, black laborers and families. Coming up, the history behind the area as we talk to someone who lived there in her childhood.
Still pretty windy outside. We had the cold front come through earlier today that brought us the rain early in the day. Now the colder air rushing in. We'll talk about how cold it gets tonight and the big warm up on the other side of the weekend in a few minutes.
And you can try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. Ginger and Matt will have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9, and you can go in depth as they answer your weather questions with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus, and you can download our streaming app for free. Just search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
Okay. May I have a clicky?
Would you like mine or Matt?
I'd like yours, Lisa, for once. Yes, I do. Thank you. A part of Central Florida was born. Free black families founded what became known as Hannibal Square in Winter Park. The area is always changing, but its history is not gone. You're about to meet a woman who has lived it, and she is making sure that history is never erased.
When I grew up, we didn't even have a telephone.
Walking with Farrell and Livingston through Hannibal Square is like opening a time capsule.
Oh, I was born a block away from here at 800 West New England Avenue.
Now in her late 70s, Livingston grew up in Hannibal Square with her childhood home just blocks from Park Avenue.
On New England Avenue here, that was the business area of the black community.
Hannibal Square was founded on the west side of Winter Park in the late 1800s and became home to formerly enslaved people, black laborers, and families.
We came from a very cohesive community where education was very important. And of course, the churches played a big role.
While African Americans were largely excluded from living or owning property in other parts of the city, Hannibal Square emerged as a self-sustaining community during segregation.
This was the location of my elementary school. It's not the same building, but it's the footprint of where my elementary school was, where I attended in the 50s.
Long before the neighborhood looked the way it does now, with large homes, high-end shops, and restaurants, Hannibal Square was built on deep family roots.
So that house, it says family, that number on there, what is that?
Oh, that's your number.
That's my number.
Hannibal Square's story also challenges how people see Winter Park today, standing as a powerful reminder of Black history as foundational to the city's story, a legacy of resilience, community, and often unrecognized contributions from African Americans who helped build Winter Park from the ground up.
We have these three men here. The one holding the slate, the advocate, that was Gus Henderson. Gus Henderson had the first newspaper in Winter Park, Florida, and he serviced both the Black and white community. And then next to him, you would have Walter Simpson, and he was elected to the town council along with the gentleman next to him, Frank Israel. They were the first two Black men serving on the town council. They called them aldermen back in that day, and they served from 1887 until 1893. However, the whites went to the Florida legislature and requested that they overturn that election and remove Hannibal Square from the town limits. And the Florida legislature approved that.
This is a picture of the town's people.
One way that history is being preserved and passed on is through a walking tour led by Jasmine Harris, manager of the Hannibal Square Heritage Center.
These photographs document African American life before desegregation and tell a very important story.
From clothes to cars to the everyday moments, the pictures tell the stories of the families whose own history is not woven into Central Florida's history.
It shows Hannibal Square as a living entity. The community is not dead. These people, they're still here.
And we are so thankful people like Farrell and Livingston are still here. Now, the Heritage Center is always looking for people with pictures and stories connected to Hannibal Square. If that's you, they would love to hear from you. We put a link into how you can get in touch with them in this story. You'll find it on clickorlando.com. Matt and Lisa, back to you.
Love learning about that history.
So glad you told us about it. I've been there so many times. Did not know that.
It was a pleasure. Thanks.
All right, we do now want to check in with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas because we have some big changes on the way once again in our forecast.
We do. Okay, one for the negative if you don't like it on the colder side, and then one for the positive if you like it on the warmer side, or topsy-turvy that, depending upon what you like. Cold front now pushing back down to the Bahamas. That's what brought us a little bit of rain anyway earlier this morning. You see the wind right out of the north and west now, bringing us the next round of cold that we are feeling right now, and certainly that will settle in early today. You can clearly see the divide here in the temperature department across the country. The warmth surging just towards our west, but the eastern third of the country, that is the source region for all of this new round of cold that is coming in and settling in again as we speak. So this is what we're waking up to tomorrow. It is not going to rival the cold that we had over the weekend or early on Monday morning, but it is going to be cold out there tomorrow. 32 right at the freezing mark in Ocala and into Denellen. 32 in the Villages. Also that for us in Wildwood. We're close in Bushnell. We're at 36 in Sanford. 34 degrees in DeLand when you wake up. Now here's a look at the afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
Forget about the sunshine. We're going to keep that really tomorrow and all through the weekend. It's still a little on the cooler side. It'll feel great in the sunshine, though. Back to the lower 60s. We're at 63 in Holopah. Titusville, we're at 63 as well. Miko, good evening. We are at 64 tomorrow with the help of the sunshine. Gorgeous shot here, but this tells the story. As we watch that breeze again, it's adding a little bit of insult to injury. Live look outside Port Canaveral with our Launch Credit Union camera, but we are getting our clear skies back as that drier air punches in behind the front. Right now, we have air temperatures at 54 degrees. The breeze, though, sustained at 22 miles an hour. It's gusting a little higher than that, and that's something we do keep tomorrow. As we go forward for the rest of the evening, we're going to keep the wind gusts on the order of about 10 to 15 miles an hour. You'll see it kind of ramp back up again through the afternoon. That's 3 o'clock tomorrow with those wind gusts again pushing 20 to even 25 miles an hour at times. That'll give us a little wind chill. Again, it's going to be cold. It's nothing like the brutally cold start we had Sunday or even Monday. 29 is what it'll feel like in Ocala, right around 30 degrees at Daytona Beach. So again, you have all the cool weather gear from the last weekend. You'll need that again for one more day. We did get some rain today, not a ton, certainly a little bit more the further south and east of I-4. You were about a half inch just to the west of us in Rockledge, just about 900ths of an inch at the Orlando International Airport. We'll take what we can get for sure, but again, we need some rain bad as we go over the next couple of days. Wind over the next few days, again, going to remain elevated. Air temperatures right around 70 on Sunday. And then there we go as we get back into the early stages of next week. We've been advertising this pattern change for about a week and a half now. And there it is, 77 by Tuesday, right around 80 degrees on Thursday.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, you may have noticed housing prices, they have stayed high.
Many families finding it hard to find an affordable place to live. Coming up, the new idea being floated to try and help.
This home was deemed unlivable after Hurricane Ian. Years later, the homeowners are still waiting for federal funding to fix it.
I'm still paying a mortgage on a house I can't live in, homeowners insurance, flood insurance.
I'm News 6 investigator Erica Bergoglio, and I found out the people who live here are not alone. Coming up tonight at 6, the reason they are waiting for relief.
Coming up in the morning, the chills are back in the air, and one local attraction is already thinking ahead to the summer.
Yeah, the water park that's looking to hire hundreds of people. Are you ready to take the plunge?
Oh, you got me there. Join us for News 6 Morning, starting at 6.
Here's a live look now at Blue Spring State Park. Still plenty of manatees out there as those temperatures continue to drop today. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back. Housing prices still high for many families. It's impossible to find an affordable place to live.
But there is a new idea gaining some traction, building small homes right in people's backyards. News 6's Alex Cook is taking a look.
This may look like the construction site of a brand new home, but it's actually in the backyard of someone's house here in Orange County. This is what's known as an accessory dwelling unit, also known as a granny flat or mother-in-law suite. It's been legal to build these here in Orange County for years, but now the state Senate has unanimously voted for people to be able to build these on their property all across Florida in an effort to help with affordable housing. Mary Page is building this small house behind her Pine Hills home as a surprise for a friend who struggled to find an affordable place to live. It's just over 500 square feet, and the pre-designed floor plan came from Orange County's Ready, Set, Orange program. There may be many more people like Page across Florida building small homes on their property soon. The Florida State Senate voted Wednesday to require local governments to allow people to build accessory dwelling units wherever single-family homes are allowed. Right now, counties and cities can ban ADUs, but the new Senate bill will prohibit any local government from stopping people from renting out their small homes, except in the cases of less than a month. So you still might not be able to put your ADU on Airbnb. It also stops local governments from increasing parking requirements at these homes and says that they can't be denied a homestead exemption because of an ADU.
ADUs can increase workforce housing. Because ADUs cost less to build, they cost less to rent and are often located in areas where workers need to live to be close to their jobs.
Now that Senate bill goes back to the Florida House for approval. Not everyone thinks it's a great idea to pack in more homes. Just last year in California, the city of San Diego changed their ADU policy, with council members saying the broad law allowed owners of large properties to build full apartment buildings on their lots. But Florida seems ready to embrace ADUs as a possible solution for people struggling to afford rent. In Orange County, Alex Cook, News 6.
Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we're working on for News 6 at 6.
Lisa and Matt, we are following up on the legal battle involving immigration detainees. Coming up, what we now know after 3 more of these cases were in federal court today in Central Florida. Plus, how a new proposal could end up helping improve safety and transparency for neighbors in Volusia County. A live look for you now at downtown Orlando. This is from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera. You're watching News 6. We will be right back.
Now on News 6 at 6, wrongful ICE detentions once again in the spotlight. How federal judges ruled in 3 more habeas corpus cases today. Plus,
New video only News 6 is showing you tonight after an assault on a trail.
What's your name? What happened?
We'll show you the moment deputies found who they were looking for in August and what else we're learning about the suspect from the evidence we're seeing for the first time.
and we're breaking down how a new bill could help improve transparency and safety, making code enforcement officers wear body cams.
The body cam is worn by the officer. People would be on notice that recording could be happening.
News 6 at 6 starts now. On your forecast.
Yeah, some of you may be just sick and tired of the cold, but once again, we are looking at a chilly night ahead. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas told us it would be back, and here it is. Jonathan.
Yeah, for like one night only, though. So this is not going to be an extended stretch like we had the last time. It's not going to be as cold as the last go around, but still cold again when you wake up tomorrow morning. About 15 to 20 degrees colder at this hour when compared to 6 o'clock yesterday. So that front has done a number on Central Florida as expected. We have air temperatures now into the upper 40s in Palm Coast. Good evening in Mount Dora. We're at 53. Melbourne, we're at 54 degrees, 51 degrees in Denellen. That is where we have a freeze warning in place. So this goes to show the widespread nature of this one is not as extreme, is not as intense as the last one. Still, though, the opportunity for that freeze there for us in Marion County, maybe also in parts of northern Sumter, northern Lake as well, as we're going to flirt with that 32-degree threshold. We talked about this last week. Just keep your plants covered until tomorrow morning. And then you can let them breathe again, as we will see sunshine and a big warm-up coming down the pipeline. We're going to break down that part of your forecast coming up at about 6:17, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Now on News 6, this is video you can see only right here. The arrest of a man deputies say assaulted a woman on a local trail. We've been following this story every step of the way since August.
Yeah, a man was caught and charged after the woman was attacked just in the middle of the day in the Longwood area. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver is live along the Seminole-Wekiva Trail again tonight, bringing us a new look at the evidence against this man. Catherine.
That's right. This is the very first time that we are seeing video of Patrick Gamache's arrest, along with video from a nearby traffic camera that helped track him down. You might remember after the assault here on the Seminole-Wekiva Trail, he was found in this same area the very next day. This is what happened when deputies caught up with him.
What's your name? What happened?
By the time deputies discovered Patrick Gamache, he was shirtless and shoeless and standing on the ramp to I-4 eastbound near 434.
Nobody still told me what's going on here. We're conducting the investigation. We'll tell you in a minute.
It's just after 9 o'clock in the morning on August 19th. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office had been searching for a man who forced a woman to the ground and assaulted her less than 24 hours earlier on a nearby trail.
I need police and medical. There's a woman been assaulted on a trail behind my work.
This picture, shared by the Sheriff's Office, shows the red shirt and scooter the suspect left behind.
What was he wearing? Shirtless. He left his shirt here.
The next morning, a traffic camera near I-4 and 434 spotted this man walking in red shorts.
You're being detained while we investigate that.
Deputies stopped Gamache because they say he matched the description of who they had been looking for in the same area. They run a quick background check and find out he's wanted out of state on a drug possession charge.
He has a warrant out of Georgia.
And when detectives arrive, you hear where Gamache says he's trying to go and where he came from.
Yeah, he said he was hitchhiking when he came up here. He said he's trying to get back to Jacksonville. What brings you down here from Jacksonville?
Yo, I got out from Miami-Dade County like 5 days ago.
You were in jail?
Yeah.
The whole interaction is nearly an hour before Gamache is finally placed under arrest.
Right now you are under arrest.
When we heard Gamache mention that he had recently gotten out of jail in South Florida, we also started looking into that case. Online court records from Miami-Dade County show he was arrested after a robbery there in 2023, and that case was closed just days before the assault here in Seminole County. I'm live in Seminole County. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Catherine, thank you. Now to a story we're staying on top of for you tonight in Orange County. News 6, the only ones back in federal court today as 3 more immigrant detainees seek their release from the Orange County jail. Just 2 days ago, you might remember we told you 2 people were released in Orlando as judges criticized ICE rebooking practices. Your Orange County community correspondent Mike Valenti attended all 3 of those hearings. He joins us live outside of court. So Mike, so far, the attorneys for these detainees have had some success.
Matt, good evening. That's right. They've had quite a bit of success, actually. But today was a bit more of a nuanced situation. Philip and Josephine Arroyo trying to get 3 more clients, as you mentioned, out of the Orange County jail. They're there solely on ICE detainers, no underlying local charges. But at the end of the day, only 1 of those 3 was actually released from custody. Just 2 days ago, we told you that 2 men held solely on immigration detainers became the 4th and 5th of the Arroyo's clients deemed by the court to be unlawfully detained at the Orange County jail. And so they were released. Cut to Thursday morning, about 11 a.m. I was inside the courtroom when ICE agents brought in Miguel Rincon Hernandez, who was handcuffed and shackled. The Venezuelan national has been held in the Orange County jail for nearly 30 days. That's according to his attorney, Philip Arroyo, who told Judge Julie S. Sneed that Rincon Hernandez has a valid work permit, driver's license, and social security card, as he awaits a final decision on his asylum application. When informed of the length of Rincon Hernandez's current detention in the Orange County jail, Judge Sneed said, quote, "I'm really concerned." She ordered that he be given a bond hearing in immigration court, but for now, he remains in jail. At 2 p.m., Alexis Lopez Rojas, wearing an orange jail jumpsuit, was escorted into Judge Carlos Mendoza's courtroom. Also a Venezuelan national, Lopez Rojas was detained January 1st of this year. He had previously been granted immigration parole and is seeking asylum. Judge Mendoza ruled his detention was unlawful and ordered Lopez Rojas's immediate release. The next and final case of the day, Glenn Lira Fernandez, a Brazilian national wearing shorts and a t-shirt, also handcuffed and shackled. His student visa expired in 2022, and on January 24th of this year, immigration agents detained him. Judge Mendoza argued he is entitled to a bond hearing to be held February 12th, but Lira Fernandez was not released. So something we've heard over and over again in these cases is a discussion about the distinction between 2 U.S. codes related to detaining non-citizens. One U.S. code that has to do with detaining non-citizens when they get to the border, the other that relates to non-citizens detained within the interior of the United States. If you go to clickorlando.com right now, you can see why these 2 U.S. codes matter so much in these cases that we've been covering and how they factor in here. For now, we're live outside the federal court. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Mike, thank you. Developing tonight, an arrest connected to a murder in a Leesburg park. U.S. Marshals captured James Fenderson IV. He's a person of interest in the December shooting that happened there. Police say 18-year-old Juan Gomez was inside his car at Berry Park when he was shot and killed. Investigators are still looking for another person of interest in this case. You can see him on your screen right there, Deontay Wright. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Line at 800-423-TIPS. Developing tonight, we have new details about a prank at Lake Nona High School last night. We brought you this as breaking news on News 6 at 5 yesterday. Orlando police say they got a call about someone on campus with a gun. This turned out to be a prank and nothing was found. But OPD says during the search, an officer's gun accidentally went off. This is now under investigation and the officer is getting additional training. Nobody was hurt.
In Palm Bay, police are looking for a suspect in connection to a murder and robbery. Police say this man you're about to see, Felix Jose Rosado Toribio, has an arrest warrant out stemming from an attempted murder and burglary in Palm Bay from November of 2024. Police also say he has 2 separate warrants out for murder and attempted murder out of the Dominican Republic. A $5,000 reward is available for information leading to the arrest of this guy, but police say Toribio is considered armed and dangerous. If you see him, do not approach him. Instead, call 911 right away, or you can call Crime Line. That's the number on your screen.
Well, it could soon be a lot easier for code enforcement officers in Florida to start wearing body cameras, a big step for transparency and safety. A bill just cleared its first Senate hurdle, setting clear guidelines for counties and cities to equip their code enforcement teams with those cameras. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed breaks down what this bill means and how the push for it started here.
Getting body cameras on code enforcement officers has been a pretty hot topic here in Volusia County. Just 2 years ago, the county council tried to make it mandatory for the county's code officers to wear body cameras, but ran into some legal road bumps and decided to push the state to change its rules to make it easier instead. The issue they face is that code enforcement officers are not exempt from the consent to record rule, especially in private settings, unlike police officers. If this bill passes, that would change.
The body cam is worn by the officer. People would be on notice that recording could be happening.
Representative Bill Partington sponsors the accompanying House bill.
It protects the code enforcement officers, and it also protects the rights of the residents.
Right now, Florida has no law banning code enforcement officers from wearing body cameras, but there are hardly any guidelines, which has held places like Volusia back from using them. The bill seeks to set clear rules on how to wear the cameras, record, store video, and handle public records.
It lines up very similar to the current rules that are used for police body cam videos.
There is no official data tracking crimes against code enforcement officers, but several incidents have been reported across the state in the last year. We've seen it before here in Volusia, too.
I will beat you to death with stupid.
Okay. I covered this case back in 2022 when a man in Daytona Beach was arrested after police said he threatened to beat a code enforcement officer to death with the tablet the officer was using to document violations on his property. Daytona Beach began requiring body cameras for code enforcement officers back in 2019. Right now, the officers can record in public spaces like sidewalks, as you see in the video, but if they enter a private property, they need permission to record under current law. The bill now heads for its second reading on the Senate floor. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Well, just imagine not being able to live in your home for years after a hurricane.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to one couple in Volusia County. Years later, they are still waiting for federal funding to fix it.
I'm still paying a mortgage on a house I can't live in, homeowner's insurance, flood insurance.
News 6 investigator Erica Briguglio found out the people who live in this home are not alone.
Good to be with you on a very busy Thursday night. Developments in the abduction of Savannah Guthrie's mother, and we're also covering the measles outbreak with health officials now scrambling to contain cases on a college campus in Florida. All that and much more ahead on the CBS Evening News.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
One couple has not been able to live in this home for the past 3 years. It was damaged during Hurricane Ian. You can see the cracks, the home starting to buckle. Now, the couple says they applied for a FEMA grant to fix their home. But years later, they say their application has not been touched. I'm News 6 investigator Erica Bergoglio, and I found out they are not alone.
Look at the cracks because of the settlement.
As Cheryl Booth's home of 20 years cracks and crumbles.
This one is enough to scare anybody. Look at this.
So does her spirit. It seems like it was well lived in. How does it feel being in your home now, seeing it empty, cracked?
I'm going to tell you this. I've been here several times because it is my home. But seeing it like this is very, very unsettling. I don't have a home.
Booth and her husband have not lived here for more than 3 years after floodwaters from Hurricane Ian burst through their New Smyrna Beach home in the middle of the night. When did you realize that you were not going to be able to live in your home
I
anymore?
realized that the very night that it happened. With the amount of water that was in the house, I just couldn't see it.
A structural engineer deemed their house uninhabitable. The Booths applied for FEMA's Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, which helps rebuild or harden homes. But years later, Booth's grant application has not been touched. The last update she got was in December, saying it still needs to be reviewed by FEMA.
I'm still paying a mortgage on a house I can't live in, homeowner's insurance, flood insurance.
Booth is not alone. The city of New Smyrna Beach says several projects linked to this grant, such as the work being done here at 27th Avenue Beachfront Park, are also in a holding pattern. The city says it needs to be reimbursed before these projects can be completed and inspected. We wanted to get to the bottom of this. I asked FEMA the reason for the holdup. FEMA says when the Florida Division of Emergency Management submits an environmental review, FEMA will then move the project to the next steps. I called and emailed the Division of Emergency Management. I am still waiting for a response to our questions. We want to make sure Booth's application gets reviewed, so News 6 also reached out to her congressman, Representative Corey Mills. His office is looking into this. We will let you know what happens. Erica Bergoglio, News 6.
That is a tough situation.
3
All that
years,
time,
you
yeah,
kidding
for
me?
sure.
Crazy.
All right, meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joins us now. And Jonathan, it's hard to cover up plants that are already deceased.
Oof.
And I know the
It's
cold
more like a
weather's
burial.
cold weather's coming back, but we were warned.
Hey, the weekend's going to be nice to kind of rip out those plants that may have perished this past week. I know even if you've taken the precautions, it was still so cold that it might not have been enough. We're hanging around 50 right now in the Villages, 51 in DeLand, 50 degrees in Daytona Beach. For most of us, this isn't plant killing cold, although again, they've had to make it through the last weekend. It is going to be cold. We do have one spot under a freeze warning. That's us in Marion County. That's our best shot to get to the freezing mark, if not a notch or two below. 48 by 9 o'clock tonight. We're dipping to 42 by midnight, back to the mid to upper 30s across most of Central Florida by the time you wake up tomorrow. A little colder northwest of I-4. We're at the freezing mark in Ocala in the Villages. Good evening in Wildwood. We're at 32 tomorrow morning, 31 in Denellen. We're at 37 in Kissimmee, back to St. Cloud, mid-30s for us as well. 42 at the Cape, Palm Coast, back to Bunnell. We're hanging right around the freezing mark, a notch or two above. Gorgeous shot, though. Love this picture from us. A live look in Daytona Beach this evening. Just a few passing clouds. The gorgeous sunset. We're hanging around 50. The breeze out of the west-northwest at about 10 and 15 miles an hour. It has been gusty as expected behind that front. It is going to stay that way tomorrow. You see the wind arrows going across your screen. That's out of the north and west. New gusts in Kissimmee reported at 26 miles an hour, pushing 30 miles an hour in Sanford. Also that in Melbourne and Micco. So it is gusty. It's going to stay that way again tomorrow. A little breezy when you wake up, so a little bit of a wind chill tomorrow morning. Then the gusts ramp up into the afternoon, about a 20 to 25 mile per hour gust as we get into the afternoon. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
Tons of sunshine coming our way. It's still a little cooler, lower 60s. It's about 10, 15 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year. But We talked about the light at the end of the tunnel, and it is closer than ever now. By Saturday, we push back to around 70. Cool start, also a chilly start on Sunday, but we get back to around 70. Mid-70s for us on Monday, and then we continue to climb as we get towards the middle and latter stages of the week. If my eyes do not deceive me, and they don't because I put that on the 7-day forecast, that is an 80, and it's been a long time since we've seen that, guys.
Looking good. All right, thank you, Jonathan.
Got it.
Sports director Jamie Say is here now.
Jamie, the Magic are playing with the cards they have right now.
Yeah, you know, the Magic could have made a big move before the NBA's trade deadline. They didn't. Made a minor move, but they are sticking with the core that they have. Coming up, a live report from Ryan Welch from the Kia Center, including comments from the Magic's president of basketball operations, why he believes in this Magic group that has struggled. The Magic host the Brooklyn Nets tonight at 7 o'clock. They will enter this game at the Kia Center slightly different. The Magic traded guard Tyus Jones to Charlotte for cash considerations before today's NBA trade deadline. Jones averaged 3 points a game in his 48 appearances this season. Let's join News 6's Ryan Welch live at the Kia Center with reaction from the Magic. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, Jamie, days like today are tough. Those were the exact words from Jamal Mosley this morning after the team traded away Jones and a pair of future draft picks to the Charlotte Hornets. Now, look, this has got to turn around. Everyone knows that. Let's show you what happened earlier today as the team got up some shots. As we know, the Magic getting ready to host the Brooklyn Nets in mere minutes, but things have got to change. We know it. 25-24 overall. That's Orlando's record. 8th in the Eastern Conference. Simply not good enough. But the management feels that there is more than enough talent on this roster when fully healthy to get the job done and make a deep playoff run. But they're going to have to start winning soon.
I don't like the state of the team right now. You know, we're not playing well. I think it's been a little while that we haven't been playing well. Jamal was hired to get us to the next level, and it's his job to get us to the next level, and we believe that he will. When the group's been whole, it's been really good. It's kind of been what we kind of hoped for. So now the trick is, you know, can you get it whole? Can you keep it whole? Can you get a long enough look to see what's what?
I think we're in a good spot. I mean, I think, you know, getting Franz back will obviously help a lot, you know, and then just getting continuity. I mean, Mo hasn't played basketball in over a year. Jay Suggs missed a month, you know, so I mean, we're working guys back into the fold, and I'll be excited to welcome them back with open arms and hopefully take off from there.
Jeff Weltman was adamant that Jamal Mosley will be the Magic's head coach through the rest of the season, but Weltman added that he understands the fans' frustration and says he feels it as well. Reporting live from the Kia Center in Orlando, Ryan Welch, News 6. Jamie?
All right, thank you very much, Ryan. Yeah, big game tonight. This is a winnable game for the Magic. Obviously, fans were hoping for a major move, but they just weren't there. So
it's
once
not a
Franz,
talent issue, really,
well,
is it?
Well, it's been an injury issue this
Yeah.
season. I think we all know that. The way they're playing now is not good enough, clearly. Hopefully, when Franz gets back, they can make a push after the All-Star break.
Fingers crossed.
Let's
Thanks,
hope.
Jamie.
More news coming up at 9 o'clock on clickorlando.com.
Have a good night.
That's unbelievable. They were supposed to be down. So then you got to give Jaylen Brown MVP.
All right, you ready?
Waiting on you, Jack.
Come on, Sleepy Chris.
Sleepy Chris.
All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Our cold front has come and gone. It will be much colder by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. But then a gigantic warm-up is coming. We'll have your forecast tonight. Yeah. Get it.